Shane Company customer. That type of expertise only comes from working for a company that's been a family business since 1929. We also think about your budget. We only pick the best in each grade in all shapes and sizes. Your diamond is guaranteed to be the most beautiful because a friend wants you to pick from only the best. Drop by your store or shaneco.com and see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
From the DriveHubler.com studios, this is 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BP, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
This is The Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
The hot start is what probably makes the whole thing hurt even more. But the fact that they were at 8, so soon, and, that class of, is it 18, that Quentin's class, and then Zaire and those guys, it's a heck of a class. You just know it doesn't last forever. You've had one or two appearances, and you just go, man, is the time going to run out? And that's just reality, right?
You were my son.
First and 10 around the 17-yard line of the Colts. Lawrence again backs the pass, fires it left side around the numbers, and they lateral back to a receiver. I think the Colts have recovered a loose football with Samson Evacom. Third and goal. Rivers out of the gun. Has the troops at the right hash. Taylor the back right. They give it to Taylor right at the middle. Moving left. Touchdown! Jonathan Taylor with his 18th rushing touchdown of the season. Receiver motions to the right. That's Parker Washington. Backing to throw is Lawrence. In the pocket, dancing, fires into the end zone, and it is intercepted. It's picked off by Jermaine Pratt. In the back right corner of the end zone, an interception thrown by Trevor Lawrence. Jermaine Pratt naps it and prevents the Jaguars from scoring points at the end of the first half.
I think it's just finding a way collectively as a unit of finishing football games. That's really what it comes down to. Play here, play there, call here, call there, whatever it may be, finding a way.
Backing to throw on 3rd and 10. Lawrence with a deep drop. Sends a dart downfield. That's a catch. A penalty on the field. Parker Washington giving ground. Moving to his left. Outside the numbers left. Looking to turn the corner. 15, 10. And he's going to be pushed out of bounds on the left sideline inside the 10. Lawrence, direct snap. He's going to take off and run and scamper into the end zone for a touchdown. He's got 2 rushing touchdowns today. And Jacksonville has the lead for the first time. It's 13-10 over the Colts. Motion out to the left side, including Downs, Warren, and Michael Pittman Jr.
They're blitzing.
Rivers throws that way, intercepted, 30, 25, 20-yard line, and being stopped right there is Jerrion Jones, and the Jaguars are right back into business near the red zone. The rookie quarterback waiting on the shotgun snap. Prevent defense by Jacksonville. They're going to rush 5. Back in the throw is Leonard. Steps away from trouble, throws downfield. It's got enough air on it into the end zone, and it is intercepted by Jacksonville at the eye in Indianapolis in the end zone. 23-17 is the final score on the Ruoff Mortgage scoreboard. And the Colts losing skid now has reached 6 games.
Now it's your turn to cry. So tell me a rhythm. Go on and just tell me a rhythm. Go on.
Well, things I am used to saying, particularly before the month of January arrives. For the 5th straight year, the Colts will once again watch meaningful football in the month of January. Things that I'm not used to saying, gentlemen. It's Rose Bowl week for the Indiana Hoosiers. What a time to be alive. Good Monday morning to you. We are here, Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, Caleb Zuber. Thank you for the intro there. A little JT, if you want to make your significant other happy on this Monday morning right there. Cry Me a River from Justin Timberlake. And once again, the Colts will head to Houston for the season finale, officially 1 o'clock on Sunday. And they will play a game that has zero bearing on playing football here in the month of January. I believe it's 96 teams, James, since 2000 have started 8-2, and the Colts are the first to turn 8-2 into watching playoff football. Not even getting to Week 18, if you want to take it a step further, and having something to play for. A lot to get to here on this Monday morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. And to your point, yeah, they're the first team. And shout out to the Associated Press for putting this out. First team in 30 years to start 8-2 and miss the playoffs. The last team to do it was the 1995 Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, I believe that would be north of about 100 teams. I went back to 2000, but yeah, north of about 100 teams just to add some context to it. So, yesterday, 23-17 inside of Lucas Oil Stadium, they build a double-digit lead. and then just slowly kind of wilts away. I don't know how you felt watching the game unfold. To me, it was like, when will Jacksonville show on the scoreboard they're the better team that my eyes are watching unfold? Like, I thought it was pretty clear. The game itself, Jacksonville was the better team. They doubled the Colts up in yardage. You heard a couple of the highlights there. I mean, certainly, Jermaine Pratt, credit to him for making a play, but whether it was the hook and ladder or some of Liam Cohen's decision making, it was kind of like, when are they going to finally show that they are the better team? Eventually, they did that, and now we await what the Week 18 decision will be at quarterback, if indeed that was the final era, if you will, re-era for Phillip Rivers. And then ultimately, the elephant in the room, what will Carly Ursay-Gordon do a week from today?
That is certainly the elephant in the room. And I think that's the weird part about covering yesterday's game, Kevin, is that going into it, nothing materially changes. You know what I mean? Because there were so many fans, and I don't necessarily blame them for being upset, but 5th straight loss going into the game, 6th straight loss had you won. It doesn't change anything from a big picture standpoint. It was really, at least in my eyes, Kevin, the unofficial Phillip Rivers send-off. Because now that they've been eliminated officially, that should be his last start in the NFL. So from that perspective, I can appreciate his effort coming out of retirement, trying to do what turned out to be impossible. But now more serious questions await.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know. There's part of me that does want to focus a little bit on the game. I know full well our audience is probably like, dude, who the hell cares? Let's just talk big picture endlessly. I guess we do have a lot of hours over the course of the next 5 days to go over some of that.
The next 5 months as well.
Well, yeah, and we'll see exactly what happens a week from Monday. When Cameron Dicker all of a sudden turned into Michael Badgley on Saturday and the Colts playoff fate was sealed. I don't know how you felt, James, but it was just like I was actually watching the Chargers-Texans game with some Colts fans, like I would consider them very diehard Colts fans, and their reaction of just almost laughing at the result was I don't know, just kind of maybe just a harsh reality of where you're at as a franchise, of like, you're used to this. You're used to 5 straight years now without a playoff berth.
Yeah.
You're used to 8 straight years without a playoff win. Sunday, ironically enough, will be the 11th-year anniversary of your last home playoff game. Like, all of these numbers, all of these stats, we're now just grown accustomed to that being the Colts.
Yeah, what is it? The tie for the 4th longest playoff drought right now, currently in the NFL.
Right, and it could actually grow if Carolina wins on Saturday. I think that's a Saturday game. I thought I saw Carolina and Tampa coming up on Saturday. Yeah, I mean, those are just numbers that are like, oh my gosh, those are ugly. And if you want to live in the here and now, I think one of the ugliest numbers of the Shane Steichen era, yesterday, you are now 2-9 against Houston and Jacksonville. And think about it, Houston hired a head coach at the same time the Colts did. DeMeco Ryans and Shane Steichen on the same coaching cycle. Jacksonville has a first-year head coach. I mean, it's not like you are with Andy Reid and the Chiefs, or John Harbaugh and the Ravens, or Sean McDermott and the Bills, and you are 2-9 against those two teams.
Yeah, when you mentioned that in the post-game news conference, that was jarring to me, because a lot of our conversation over the last however many years has been Chris Ballard needs to go and he's not cut out for the job. But when you look at Steichen, my initial reaction is to go, well, wait a second. He's made something out of nothing with some quarterbacks that probably should have been playing at this point in their career. Shout out to Joe Flacco and Phillip Rivers and Gardner Minshew, for that matter, as well, over the last few years. But that is a damning stat, because you have to find a way against your division opponents, and not finding a way is why you find yourself continuing to be like a middling franchise, a middling team. So in theory, they could win against Houston, which I don't think that's going to happen. But my point is, you could have finished 9-8 this year, but like, who cares? Because you didn't win the games that really mattered. I was thinking about that yesterday going into the game. They could, in theory, have won 10 games, but it doesn't matter because you didn't win the ones that you needed to. And I get that there were a bunch of injuries this year, key injuries. Obviously, DeForest Buckner going on injured reserve recently is very notable. But beyond that, Kevin, for whatever reason you want to pick, when the calendar flips to December and January for the Colts over the last 5 years, they fold annually.
Yeah, and I would say a couple other things, and I'm sure we'll sprinkle in kind of the big picture stuff throughout today's show and certainly over the next couple of days. But, you know, I'm reminded of the last playoff appearance, 2020, ironically occurred when the NFL expanded to 7 teams making it out of each conference. And to me, if you're going to critically evaluate things for Carly Ursay-Gordon Company, that is even more damning on the resume of Chris Ballard. Again, go back to the COVID year. The NFL said, okay, 6 playoff teams will now become 7. So each year for the last 5 years, we've had 7 teams out of 16 in each. I mean, that's nearly half the conference makes it.
Yeah.
And so when you're comparing all this historical data, you know, that we oftentimes do, those living in the here and now of the last 5 years, GMs, head coaches, however you want to define people, they have the benefit of the extra playoff team. And that's the only reason why the Colts even had a prayer here coming into week 17 potentially, was because of that 7th playoff spot. And also now this is the second time you've had a historical collapse, and it's under 2 different head coaches. You know, in 2021, if you want to play the blame game of Frank Reich and Carson Wentz, so be it. Well, you know, here you are in 2025, and who you playing the blame game on here? So I think those are just some things. If really there's only one element where I find myself pausing in what Carly Ursay-Gordon could do, and that is the fact that, by all accounts, she green-lighted the Sauce Gardner trade. Every time I hear a reason for running it back, to me, it's the injury excuse. That's like the one piece of evidence that people go to, or they quickly go to, well, it'd be a disservice to the new GM. Well, since when is that a ringing endorsement on the previous person, or I guess the person in charge right now?
You got to make that choice irregardless of what happened with the previous GM and how you're going to set them up. And I get the frustration, and a lot of the feedback that I've gotten over the last few days, Kevin, has been, well, what GM is going to want this job? What candidate is going to apply for this job? Trust me, people. Only 32 of these jobs in the world. They will have plenty of candidates if they go down that route. That doesn't really bother me. It's just the choice in making a change if you're going to do it.
Yeah, if you told me there was I guess hopefully Maddie's still asleep. If there's 32 Victoria's Secret models out there that potentially have an interest in Kevin Bowen, I'll happily take 32 out of 32.
I'll say, watch out now, Kevin. Watch out now.
I probably shouldn't say that. Definitely not going to say it in the 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock hour here. So hopefully Caleb can maybe edit that off of the old podcast. It is Rose Bowl week. The weather in Pasadena looks absolutely ugly for New Year's Day. I don't know if I can't remember the last time I've seen a rainy Rose Bowl.
I know.
We'll see exactly how the weather plays out. I believe Indiana departs Bloomington today, or I don't know if they drive up here and then fly out. But again, that will be Thursday at 4 o'clock. I would think a rain game favors Indiana, right? They can run it, and Alabama can't run it.
I was going to say, I love their run game, and to your point, Alabama's kind of survived by the skin of their teeth, and yeah, that would be advantage Indiana. But also, I think there's just advantage Indiana, period, because obviously they're the number 1 team in the country.
8 straight losses for the Pacers. They are in Houston tonight. Aaron Nesmith did return over the weekend. Their health situation is actually looking like maybe the best it's been all year. So we'll see if there is one last-ditch effort. But right now, the Pacers are playing just some ugly, ugly basketball. Again, 8 straight losses. They lose over the weekend. Boston and Miami in a back-to-back there. And Purdue back in action tonight. They've got Kent State up there in Mackey. So typically for college basketball, the Christmas holiday is definitely observed pre and post. And so now we get back into action. Final non-conference game for Purdue. Indiana back in action coming up later this weekend. A ton to get to in the postmortem from what we saw with the Colts yesterday, losing in Lucas Oil Stadium, 6 straight losses. And once again, it'll be 5 straight years without a playoff berth, 8 without a playoff win, and 11 without a home playoff game. Plenty to dissect. We'll do it here. It is the Fan Morning Show. Thanks for starting off your week with us right here on 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
I go back to January and with Chris Ballard prior to that, just wanting to make dramatic changes because I felt it was time. But when you ask me in the present if I think they're going to do it, I would tell you by what they did with the 2 first rounders, that tells you that they're going to be back. But what would change that? Would losing out this season?
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 to 6.
On 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Your favorite song shouldn't have to wait for Wi-Fi. Switch to Straight Talk and get real unlimited data on Verizon's 5G network. Straight Talk. Available at straighttalk.com or Walmart.
Heat and cool places where ductwork won't fit using Mitsubishi electric ductless mini splits. You can even wrap them to match your decor.
Find out more at absolutecomfort.org.
Welcome to Wawa. We're open 24/7, so when the sun goes down but everyone's still up, Wawa has your late night fuel. Headed to a hangout? Stop in for snacks and sodas. Binge your favorite shows with burgers and hoagies. Gather around the table with garlic knots and a cheesy Wawa pizza. Or just chill on the couch with fries and whatever milkshake sounds good. Your night just got a whole lot tastier. Freshly made burgers, pizza, and so much more. When you got a late night craving, you got a Wawa. Price and participation may vary by store.
Hey, JV here for WeGrowHairIndy.com. My friend Darren Andrews awaits your call at 317-522-2995 or WeGrowHairIndy.com today. So I have been a We Grow Hair Indy member for the better part of 9 years, and so glad I did because I had that classic Costanza horseshoe design setting in, and frankly, I wanted my real hair back and knew that it was leaving, vacating the premises. But Darren Andrews said, hey, we can help you out here with either multi-unit hair grafting or artist robotic FUE. Whatever you need, we shall do to get your real growing hair back again. That's exactly what happened. And all I did was make that call to Darren Andrews at 317-522-2995, WeGrowHairIndy.com. Don't wait. Do it now. That's 317-522-2995. Be just like me, JMV, and get your free evaluation and get your hair back today. WeGrowHairIndy.com.
Indiana Tech gave these grads more than just a degree. It gave them a future.
I earned a master's degree in organizational leadership and the opportunity to serve others.
I earned a degree that helped me get promoted at a great company and become the first college graduate in my family.
I earned an engineering degree that taught me to succeed in technical roles and in life.
I got the chance to work for a professional sports team with a winning experience thanks to flexible online classes.
With personalized support to help you succeed, over 100 high-quality career-focused certificates and degrees in in-demand fields like business, healthcare, criminal justice, information technology, cybersecurity, and more. Indiana Tech doesn't just give you a degree. It gives you the opportunity of a lifetime. Learn more about what Indiana Tech can do for your future at online.indianatech.edu.
Registration for the next class session ends January 9th.
Get ready to hoop. It's back. Time to try your skills around indie locations with Michelob Ultra's Mini Hoops Challenge. Michelob Ultra Mini Hoops Challenge gives you a chance to win a Michelob Ultra basketball jersey and punch your ticket to the Mini Hoops Finals, where a trip to see Indiana versus Milwaukee in Milwaukee on February 6th is on the line, complete with a hotel gift card and $100 Visa gift card. Visit 1075thefan.com today to see all the locations and details.
Xfinity is the network you can rely on. Like a close friend who will give it to you straight. The friend who will tell you that new haircut, it's not great. Friends make sure friends get good haircuts. And Xfinity makes sure you get a good deal on Wi-Fi. Xfinity gives you reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi at our best price. This holiday season through January 4th, get gig speed Wi-Fi for just $50 a month for 5 whole years. No strings, no commitments. Just super fast, reliable gig speed Wi-Fi with our best equipment and unlimited data included. Save yourself from questionable decisions and save over Verizon and AT&T. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to premises by coaxial cable. Actual speeds vary.
With Wawa's Rewards program, you can rack up points on the items you buy every day, even fuel. Boost your totals with a breakfast sizzling. Score points with your morning coffee. With Wawa Rewards, points put the power in your hands. You can choose to redeem them for what you love most, like an iced latte for an extra pick-me-up or your lunchtime hoagie. Download the Wawa app today. When you gotta get rewarded, you gotta Wawa. Fuel rewards not available in New Jersey or were legally prohibited. See full details at wawarewards.com. Price and participation may vary by store.
store. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
If you could hear Old Spice Fiji Antiperspirant, what would it sound like? First, you'd start with Fiji Antiperspirant's amazing scent of palm trees. Add pure notes of fresh coconut and layer on 24/7 odor and sweat protection. You won't hear any dyes or parabens because with Fiji, you won't have any. So while your regular antiperspirant sounds like this, Old Spice Fiji sounds like this. Sounds like it smells amazing.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, now 6 straight losses for the Indianapolis Colts as their playoff fate officially sealed actually on Saturday. So it'll be 5 straight years without a postseason appearance. They lose yesterday inside of Lucas Oil Stadium. In the home finale, it is now off to Houston. Announced last night the schedule for Week 18. No shock there. Sunday, 1 o'clock. For Colts and Texans, James Boyd, your expected quarterback depth chart for Sunday afternoon season finale is what?
Riley Leonard, Phillip Rivers, and Anthony Richardson perhaps remains on IR.
Yeah, that's probably where I would be. That would be my guess. I think Anthony Richardson vision impairment is a big factor in him not being higher up on that depth chart for those that care. But yeah, I think it's time to see Riley Leonard in the lineup there. And so
good
again,
luck, brother.
Yeah, good luck against that defense. Houston is still playing for the AFC South potentially. They would need Jacksonville to lose. But again, those games are at 1 o'clock. So, you know, at least for whatever, a couple of quarters or so, you'd expect Houston's top-ranked defense to be out on the field. So much more on Colts and Jags in the big picture throughout the show here on this Monday morning. NFL Week 17. Just pray that you either had Derrick Henry on your fantasy football team or you weren't going up against him in some sort of fantasy football championship. Caleb, we'll start with you. Your biggest takeaway from Week 17, and for those that stayed up for it last night, you were rewarded handsomely with one of the best games we've seen all season, 49ers outlasting Bears.
What were the Steelers doing yesterday? That blows my mind. If they were truthfully more worried about Myles Garrett not getting the sack record, you see Aaron Rodgers smiling at him, rolling away from his side of the field. That was embarrassing if that was the case. And it looked like it. You can't lose that game. And now if Lamar can come back for the Ravens, although Tyler Huntley looked good the other night, Steelers could be on the outside looking in, and Mike Tomlin could be on the coaching market. Who knows?
So that's game 272. That will be the Sunday night football game. The winner wins the AFC North. The loser is out. And that last part Caleb threw out there, I don't know if it necessarily would impact here, but the domino effect of what a Mike Tomlin or a John Harbaugh, I mean, I feel like that has been weirdly thrown around of what you potentially two of the longest tenured coach, I assume Hall of Fame coaches, certainly I would think Tomlin, but you know, what that could look like on the open market just makes me go, Can
you trade coaches?
You can trade coaches.
You can definitely do it.
Didn't Sean Payton get traded?
Yeah. James, your biggest takeaway non-Colts division here, Week 17?
Watching the Bears and the 49ers last night, and the 49ers still having a chance to be the NFC's number 1 seed. Very resilient team, but also I remember growing up in the Chicago area where the Bears couldn't score. at all. It was always like, I mean, the year they made it to the Super Bowl, it was Devin Hester, great defense, and we'll try to score on defense as well.
Yeah, I saw a tweet yesterday where for the first time in forever, the Bears went to a gunfight and brought a gun. I was like, that is a great tweet. I also saw the NFL tweeted, it's the first time in history we've ever had a game where the score was tied 7-all, 14-all, 21-all, 28-all, and 35-all.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like one of those games, first team to blink, and the Bears finally blinked on the last play of the game. I thought the time management could have been a little bit better there at the end as far as the timeouts go, but at the same time, that was great theater to cap off a riveting week in the NFL.
So the 2-game Saturday, you'll get the NFC South de facto championship game. That will be Panthers-Bucks. That's at 4:30. James mentioned the 49ers still playing for the 1 seed. Talk about injury excuse out there. The winner of that one, San Francisco-Seattle, becomes the 1. The loser then has to go on the road in round 1, which is just crazy to imagine one of those teams and the Rams going on the road. And like I said, Sunday Night Football, game 272, Steelers and Ravens. We really don't have a lot to play for from a playoff standpoint in Week 18. Those are the matchups, if you will. But NFC South, AFC North, and that's really it. A little bit of seeding, of course, but that's it on that front. Pacers' 8-game losing streak continued over the weekend. Again, Aaron Nesmith back, and they have the Rockets tonight. They are a 14.5-point underdog. That's Kevin Durant's Rockets, right?
That is Kevin Durant's Rockets. Shout out to KD, man. Only guy I know who trolls on Twitter more than me. Respond to the haters every single time. The high road has too much traffic.
That'll be tonight, 8 o'clock for the Pacers. And again, Rose Bowl week for the Indiana Hoosiers. They are off to Pasadena coming up today. The weather forecast will be one to monitor. Don't think I've said that too often about the Rose Bowl, but looks like some rain in the forecast here. So be certainly if you're heading out there, you might have to pack an extra layer or two from a rain standpoint. I would think that would favor Indiana. They are about a touchdown favorite in this one. So we'll get things started Wednesday night. That'll be Miami and Ohio State. That is the first game, and then we get the 3 games on New Year's Day. Of course, Indiana at 4 o'clock. And Matt Painter's bunch back in action tonight up there in Mackey. They will close out the non-conference schedule. They've got Kent State, a 24.5-point favorite over the Flashes for that one. All right, coming up on the other side, let's get much more into what happened yesterday inside of Lucas Oil Stadium. Is that it for Phillip Rivers? And the inevitable big picture questions we'll hit on as well. Kevin Bowe and James Boyd, Caleb Zuber, thank you for starting off your week with us.
The top-ranked Hoosiers face the Crimson Tide of Alabama in the Rose Bowl. New Year's Day at 3 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HAWK to 321-321 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HAWK to 321-321. That's HAWK to 321-321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis. Guaranteed or your money back. Only $59.99. Destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Also destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, or weight gain, or your money back. Hypnosis January 29th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss of 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking at 8. And January 31st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking at 2. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people. people friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
My husband's an animal in bed.
Well, you know.
Not in the fun way. Think warthog. With a chainsaw.
Snoring and sleep apnea affect over 90 million people, and 1 out of 4 couples sleep in separate rooms. Advent can help. We've been your one-stop solution for nasal congestion, snoring, and sleep apnea for over 20 years. Unlike many other practices, we focus exclusively on these conditions, so you get comprehensive care under one roof. Advent's unique approach can help you breathe and sleep better, and many avoid a CPAP. Plus, most insurance is accepted for our effective 20-minute in-office treatments.
Hey, the only animal you want in your bed is your dog.
Advent. Sleep better. Sleep together. Learn how you can improve your life at adventknows.com.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the weather first, before wearing face paint to the game.
Bro, your Go Cats is dripping into your nachos.
Oh, and now paint is in my eyes.
Interception! Did you see that?
No! Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first and see what you could save. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Potential savings vary, including based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
If you're feeling off your game, low T could be the cause. Your local Game Day Men's Health can help. Our licensed medical team offers fast in-house testing with results on your first visit. We're leaders in testosterone therapy, erectile dysfunction, and peptide therapies, and we'll build a personalized plan to help you get back in the game. Start today at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Search online for your nearest Game Day Men's Health location to schedule an appointment, where every day is game day.
Sound familiar? At Mattress Firm, we understand there are many problems, like snoring, aches and pains, hot sleep, or even an old saggy mattress that can keep you up at night. And our sleep experts have the unrivaled know-how to match you with a mattress that can help. And right now, save up to $700 on Tempur-Pedic, plus a $300 instant gift. For the great sleep you deserve, visit Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Switching to Progressive is a game-winning call. And that reminds us of other game-winning calls in the history of sports.
It was a doubleheader in August and really hot inside the concession stand. So instead of waiting for people to come to me, I figured I'd walk around yelling, "Hot dogs here!" And that's how I became the first hot dog vendor in sports.
Okay, not really a game-winning call, but it was a good call. You can make one too. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
He goes out of the gun. Etienne is back on the hip left. Back in the throw is Lawrence. Colts bring pressure. Lawrence out of the pocket. Upfield at the 5, veering left, and he's going to scamper in for a touchdown. That's a 4-yard quarterback scramble into the end zone. Trevor Lawrence finds pay dirt with his legs, and Jacksonville's on the board. It's 10-6 with 5:38 to go in the second quarter.
43-17, the final yesterday. 6 straight losses for the Colts. Off to Houston, officially 1 o'clock on Sunday. It'll be Colts and Texans to close out this 2025 season here, as 7-1 has now turned into flip it, right? 1-7 since the 7-1 start has now been 1-7. Is that right? 8-8 going in the
I was
finale.
going to say, if the math is correct.
The math
ding,
is
ding,
mathing.
ding.
Yeah, the math is pretty ugly right now if you're over there on West 56th Street. I guess looking back on yesterday, let's start with Phillip Rivers, James. Your overall thoughts on what you saw from him in his third and potentially final start here.
He finally looked like he was not really in sync. And I think he said that after the game, Kevin. I thought he kind of made up for perhaps some of the physical deficiencies the last 2 weeks heading into that game because of his mind and throwing with anticipation, accuracy, things like that. But yesterday, I just didn't see a whole lot of that. I know Mo Cox made a great play in the end zone to extend, I guess, the streak of games of at least having one passing touchdown since he returned to the NFL. But I thought Rivers was just a little bit off yesterday and just couldn't get the ball where it needed to go.
Yeah, I thought it was the oldest he's looked so far. I thought he kind of showed his age. And again, I want to, I guess I have to throw in the caveat every time we talk about Rivers. Like, let's remove ourselves from the movie for a second. The movie's incredible. It's unbelievable what he's attempting to do, all that stuff. But if you're evaluating him in an NFL game as a quarterback, the offense is back to being a dinosaur. I think in the Rivers starts, James, Seattle in this one, I believe it's the second and third fewest yards in the Steichen era. The yards per play number, again, was just an archaic number. They only had one drive over 30 yards the entire game. I mean, it was either Ashton Dulin has a huge kick return to set you up or you're not moving it at all there. So, he said it after the game, probably his worst start. I would agree on that. I just thought he looked old.
Yeah.
I mean, ran into his offensive lineman for a sack. I mean, I know the pick got tipped a little bit. I didn't think that thing had a prayer even to get there, even if it wasn't.
Yeah, that was one of those throws where you need a live arm.
Tipped, and it just felt like there were probably 3 or 4 other balls, James, that, I mean, he definitely sprinkled in some good ones. I mean, the ball to Downs on the Colts sideline that got challenged, I mean, that was a hell of a play. But it just seemed like, I don't know, maybe a hair late at times. And
That's
a couple of other balls.
Anticipation, like it just wasn't at the same level.
Just playing with a little bit more fire
than
I think we had seen maybe in the previous 2 starts there. And, the thing about him, I kind of find it fitting that Caleb plays a clip there of Trevor Lawrence making a play with his legs there. I mean, this is not obviously breaking news by any means, but with Phillip Rivers playing quarterback, it puts so much pressure on your passing offense because that play that Lawrence makes obviously is never going to be sniffed with Rivers. And the Jonathan Taylor situation continues to be beyond tough sledding for him.
How many yards did he even have yesterday?
I think it was the same old, like 20 carries for 70-some yards.
Yeah, because you're trying to, at least myself, I'm trying to remember, wait a second, this is one of the most explosive, if not the most explosive running back in the league, and we just haven't seen that here in America for over 2 months, it feels like.
21 carries, 70 yards, a long run of 10. And if you look at these losses, James, 7 and 8 weeks, you won't find a stat that probably correlates more to that than Taylor's yards per carry. You brought up the game in Germany.
Yeah.
I mean, that was historic. Over 7 yards per carry. He obviously hits the home run. We all remember there in the fourth quarter, all of that. If you look at, that's the only win in your last 8. If you look at the 7 losses, every single time for Taylor, 3 yards a carry, 3.5 a carry, 2.9 a carry, 3.3 a carry. I mean, that has been the constant. And I do think the lack of any sort of threat vertically down the field from Rivers, and of course with his legs, is at play here. So, I would go with, Riley Leonard on Sunday. I don't necessarily am saying that from the point of I think Riley Leonard all of a sudden gives you this overwhelmingly better chance to go win a football game. I think I've said it since day one. I probably would have gone with Leonard. Would it ultimately have looked the same? 0-3? Probably. Probably would have been a little bit more volatile, honestly. With Rivers, it's a little bit more methodical bleeding, if you will. And that's how I would view it. But I just think if there is even a hint that you think Riley Leonard might be needed in September of next season, which I know is a long ways away, I think it'd be healthy for him to get his first start on Sunday.
Yeah, for sure, because you don't know what you don't know. I know he got thrown in there against Jacksonville in Week 14 after Daniel Jones went down, but giving him an entire week to prepare and having that sort of title as QB1 Would be good for his development. I certainly agree with that, Kevin. I thought it was funny that they subbed him for the final play of yesterday's game, and for a second there, it looked like he gave him a chance to win the game. I mean, that was a pretty good Hail Mary attempt. I mean,
when
I know
he threw it and I saw where Pierce was, I thought for a second it was going to happen.
Yeah, and especially just because it didn't die before the end zone. And you know how I feel about Alec Pierce. If it's in his vicinity, I feel like he's going to go up and catch it. But also, shout out to the DB for picking it, because I always felt like, the old school rule of just bat it down. If he bats that, I feel like somebody comes up with it, because it was a nice little crowd there. But, yeah, I think Mike Chappell, shout out to the dean, as he's walking out yesterday, Kevin, he's like, it doesn't really matter, but they're going to start a rookie next week, most likely, who had a 0 passer rating last week. And I'm like, only you, Chap, would think of, the official statistical stat line for the one pass that's in from Riley Leonard.
That is peak Mike Chappell.
I love him.
Should Sauce Gardner have played yesterday?
No, and again, I had a lot of fans tell me this is stupid. And while I agree with them, at the same time, I was definitely trying to tell them, and I think I told them, that Friday, hey, he is going to start. I understand you all are frustrated. It shouldn't be a thing, but this is what is going to happen. That is the expectation. The playoff implications didn't change anything, but the optics of it, Kevin, are bad. And I actually it might have been a listener who kind of really put it all into context for me. And I'm not saying I agree with all of this, but it is pretty damning when your quarterback tried to play through a broken fibula and he tore his right Achilles, and then your star defensive tackle came back probably prematurely from a neck injury. Now he needs neck surgery. Sauce Gardner, in a meaningless game for your franchise, the Sauce Gardner you gave up 2 first-round picks for, comes back from a left calf injury. He's telling us how he wants to fight through it for what, and then he ends up leaving the game early because of a left calf injury, re-aggravating it, I would imagine. And we know how calves are in this city. I mean, it just didn't seem like the risk was worth that at all. So, I mean, one practice in what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Not even. It was like one practice in a month. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So the last time he played or practiced was November 30th, and yeah, to your point with the Colts having the weird short week last week, he technically only practiced one day, and that was the Friday practice, which we all know the Friday practice is typically one of the lighter ones of the week. It was, when you're there watching, from the press box, you obviously can get the full lay of the field. You don't typically, on the TV copy get, whatever great views of the cornerbacks or the safeties playing and play out. And I'm watching Sauce and trying to focus him on a little bit more because I knew it was going to be something I wanted to write about. He was favoring that thing a lot throughout the game. And I'm like, I don't know if you ever feel this way about covering guys, James, but I'm not fully used to the Sauce Gardner body language just yet. Like the more you watch people you cover, the more you're used to it. Like Lance Stevenson was the peak of it. Lance would be laboring out there, and I'd be like, he's fine. It's like my kid's fake crying.
What do they say? I think Stan Van Gundy always says it, KB. The basketball has healing powers.
Right.
So, you miss the layup, and oh, man, my calf kind of hurts. But then your team gets the steal, and it's like, oh, wait a second, I feel good again.
Sure.
That's
it's the diva wideout that finally gets a target or two, and now all of a sudden he's running his route a little bit differently. So with Sauce, in all honesty, I don't I haven't viewed him that much to really watch him. Obviously, I wasn't in Kansas City. I wasn't in Germany for those games, but it looked like he was favoring it, I would say, a good amount. In that eventually, I think it was the second drive of the third quarter, I see him in the back of the bench with that wrap on the left calf and thought to myself, boy, here we go again. So tightness was what Shane Steichen said in the calf. Sauce, for what it's worth, said after the game he doesn't feel like he restrained it or anything like that. But still, there's probably no need to see him out there.
What does that even mean? If it doesn't feel good, then what did you do?
Yeah.
Overexert yourself? Like, the risk, again, was just not worth the reward at all.
Again, injuries are the reason for this. I want to make that clear. But it is wild that we are about to look back on the Sauce Gardner trade in the year of 2025 and sit here and say that A.D. Mitchell gave the Jets more on the field than Sauce Gardner gave the Colts. Now, again,
that is a fact.
Injuries are the definition of that. But, damn, can you imagine saying that? If I say that too loud, Jeff Ricker might be back in the studio here by 7:45 here, so hopefully Jeff will join us coming back.
I will say this, too.
Later this week.
I don't know if you saw this late last night, Kevin. Sauce Gardner put out this long tweet about his level of play and how good he was in the games that he did play, and he ultimately deleted it. But when I saw that post initially, I was just thinking...
Wait, say that again? I totally missed that.
He put out a tweet, and he ended up deleting it. Here's the tweet. He said, I'll go ahead and say the real since nobody else will because it's me. I only have 32 targets. There are 0 cornerbacks that only had 32 targets through 600 snaps. I only had 22 targets through 7 games. I do not get targeted as much as 99% of other cornerbacks in the league. And it goes on to talk about how good he is and all this stuff. And he ended it by saying, having a cornerback that takes away half the field is equivalent to having a nice QB. Sauce, with all due respect, brother.
Damn, he had some numbers there.
Yeah, he's got
I might
quite
need
some
him to
numbers.
write my story.
But the point is, respectfully, who cares? Read the room, brother. I understand you haven't been here like that long, but nobody wants to hear you talk about how good you were in the games you did play when you missed too many of them to really make this trade worthwhile. I mean, and I'm not saying he's a bad person or not a good player and all those things. He's a great player. But still, I mean, come on, man. That is not the time for that. You can send that to your friends and family, your agent. Nobody wants to hear that after your season's over.
No, I believe Sauce Gardner, was a part of 2 wins and 14 losses this season?
So I would argue that, again, having a cornerback take away half the field is not as equivalent as having a good quarterback, brother.
To give him a little credit, though, I will say, and I don't know how much this, and I could be just overanalyzing Sauce Gardner in the field. For what it's worth, the Colts, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, James, all their quarterback hits on Trevor Lawrence yesterday occurred in the first half.
No,
when Sauce Gardner was playing.
He deserves credit. He is, again, really good player and certainly affects the game in a way that you get like those coverage sacks because he's so good on the back end. All I'm saying is,
sure.
Hey, man, we don't want to hear that
no need to press send at 7:30 on that one. We'll get a lot, I think, into the big picture, certainly as the show moves along and as the week moves along. But, James, when it comes down to Chris Ballard, are we evaluating 1 year or 9 years? Are we evaluating the 2025 season, or are we evaluating a resume that's 9 years long? And
it should be 9.
And I ask that in all seriousness.
No, I hear you. And there's some nuance there, like, does Carly view it as something different because this is her first year taking over the team and how crazy things were this year going from 8-2 to 8-8. But overall, I think she and everyone else should evaluate the full 9 seasons. And that's why I don't think you can look at the injuries just in a vacuum for the one season. And to your point from the last couple of weeks here on the show, Kevin, if you had other accolades to fall back on, then you can earn more grace in a season like this.
Sure. If this was, let's say this was San Francisco and John Lynch's season, let's say San Francisco would have been derailed by the injuries, which clearly they have not been. John Lynch and company could sit there and say, hey, look at what we've done, throughout, whether it's NFC West, whether it's NFC, championships period, playing in Super Bowls,
you could argue
et cetera.
if you're that regime, this is a one-off.
Yeah. I bring it up, though, because Carly did warn us at her opening press conference of the injury situation. When asked.
It's eerie that she actually called it that perfectly, honestly.
I mean, she left herself that out. And she said it back in whenever that was, May, when asked about, I forget if the exact wording of the question was like, hey, it's got to be playoffs or what coming up in 2025. She did not take that bait. She sat there and said, well, there's a lot that goes into those seasons. And she directly mentioned the injury excuse. Where I struggle with the injury excuses, now all of a sudden, to me, you're banking on 2026 with more injury questions, if you hear me out. You're banking on Daniel Jones recovering from a torn Achilles to give you quality football right away. What's DeForest Buckner's situation? I mean, that news item hit us on Friday where he comes back from the neck, plays 1 game, now needs surgery for the neck. Neck surgeries for 30-year-old football players?
Cap hit is about $26 million next year.
That doesn't sound ideal. I know Travaris Ward seems to express a desire to want to play, but you can't ignore that elephant in the room. And as much as we talk about health is impacted, which it definitely has, they also have had pristine health at the skill group throughout the season. Like, what if Jonathan Taylor has normal running back health? And there are some players that I feel like we talk about this core that I'm a little unsure of. Well, I guess I'm not really unsure. I don't think their play has been ascending. And by that, I mean the Zaire Franklins, the Kenny Moore IIs, the Michael Pittman Jr.s. Are they still ascending core players for you? How much was it scheme for Kenny? How much of it is it age with some of these guys?
That's the other thing, Kevin. And I look at with this core is what exactly
it's an
are
old
you
group.
trying to win? And I say that because, to your point, they're an older group that hasn't won. And people that get older don't get better in sports. So after having this core here for X amount of years with nothing to show for it, then do you need a new core? And I'm not saying you can go out here and gut the entire team, although a lot of fans will probably welcome that. I just don't know. It feels like they're in a little bit of like a no man's land. And I'm not talking about Chris Ballard, Shane. I'm talking about from a pure roster construction standpoint. It's a weird setup because you're built to, in theory, win now, but you haven't won in the past, and it doesn't look like you're going to win in the future either because in all likelihood, you're probably banking on a quarterback coming back from a torn Achilles and being your starter next year. We all know athletes are not the same that first year back from Achilles tears, even the best case scenarios. So does that give you confidence that next year will be better? Can we sit here and say, oh, if everyone just gets healthy, they'll be a really good team? Well, everyone ain't going to be healthy. And even if they are we sure these guys are going to go out there and perform to the level they need to?
Well, and again, as much as the Colts can sit here and say, hey, we're going to play the injury excuse card, what's Kansas City going to say about Mahomes? What's Cincinnati going to say about Burrow? What's Baltimore going to say about Lamar? All three of those teams could probably say that about their franchise quarterbacks. Are you a believer in GM and head coach got to be tied at the hip?
No, but I do think it is a very delicate needle to try to thread because more often than not, if you try to untether both of them, I feel like if you switch one for the other, it doesn't really work out. But in certain scenarios, it can. Look at the Bears, for example. They got rid of a bunch of people, but they've changed GM, head coach, all these things throughout their recent sort of history, and you see finally the fruits of that labor, the fruits of those decisions with the season they're having now. So it's possible, but Kevin, I'm not sitting here saying, okay, if you move on from Chris Ballard, Shane Steichen's a lock to be brought back. I'm not saying that at all, just because, to your point, I get that he has, probably injury excuse bigger than anybody as far as not having a quarterback finish a season the last 3 seasons. But it isn't like he has, again, this sterling resume to fall back on either.
Yeah, I would probably agree with a lot of what you just said. I do think it's a really tough needle to thread. To me, I've kind of always approached it from let's evaluate each of them individually, Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen. And then organizationally, you obviously will have to make a decision if you do tie them at the hip or not. I go back to that Carly Ursay-Gordon press conference. Is actually a question that I wanted to throw her way. I think she interpreted a little bit more from the do they get along? And I think her mind goes back to Pagano and Grigson, which they clearly did not get along. I think it's difficult to arrange marriage it up. To your point, there aren't many cases throughout the league where it works. Hell, Chris Ballard had one of those with Chuck Pagano in that first year. I was like, wait, why is Chuck, lame duck head coach? There's no chance he's going to survive this. And obviously, the Andrew Luck situation didn't help. They win 4 wins. They win 4 games in 2017. And Frank Reich first was Josh McDaniels, then it was Frank Reich after that. So, how Carly views that, I do think, because if you just evaluated them individually, the 9 years of Chris Ballard to me is much more of an ugly resume than the 3 years of Steichen. Not that Steichen's is some ringing endorsement, but I think you could talk yourself into a little bit more intrigue with Shane Steichen deserving a 4th year than I can Chris Ballard deserving a 10th. It's wild to say Chris Ballard might get a 10th year when I say that out loud.
Is it even wilder knowing that the last playoff victory was in 2018? I have it memorized down to basically a slogan almost, because I write this line over and over again in my stories. 0 AFC titles. Well, no, I always do it like this. It's like you have 2 playoff appearances, 1 playoff win, 0 AFC titles. It's always in descending order. That's your tenure.
It's funny.
2-1-0.
I was thinking about this yesterday in the press box. I actually looked it up. Tomorrow will be the 1-year anniversary where I wrote that Ballard and Gus Bradley should go. And I went back and looked at that article, and I'm like, all I need to do is just update the record, because all of it is still the same.
Yep.
The 2, the 1, and the 0. Yeah, some of the numbers that I find just wild. So if you go to the division titles, again, Sunday will be the 11-year anniversary of your last home playoff game. I believe it's 25 teams have hosted a home playoff game since you last have. You go to 2018, that's your last playoff win. I believe it's 22 teams have won a playoff game since you last have. And then if you go to playoff appearances, and this could change, remember, with Carolina, if they win on Saturday, 29 teams have been in the playoffs since you last have. Those numbers. I mean, if you look at that and think to yourself, that person might get a 10th year, it's astonishing. I mean, it is wild. And yet I sit here on this Monday morning and think, boy, they might just repurpose the same letter that they did last year after the Week 18 game, and I guess just have Carl Gordon sign it and maybe change a few words in there, and boom, there you go. It's like you doing a project at Illinois back in the day.
Hey, I got through, baby. Graduated with honors, but I will say this.
That seems like how the Colts are treating us.
I was going to say, I think being a GM is a little bit harder than, making sure you get through a C's get degrees class.
Who starts Week 18 for the Colts? We'll hit on that coming up 8 o'clock hour. We'll take some calls as well. 317-239-1070 for to join the conversation. Text line is open as well. 317-239-1070. Good Monday morning. If you haven't been out there, it is crispy. That whatever balmy weather we had yesterday is long gone. It's windy and it's chilly, but thanks for starting your week with us right here. It's the Fan Morning Show.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for indie sports. Now with even more ways to listen.
Listen on air.
Online at 1075thefan.com.
And on our free app.
Stay connected to all things indie sports, including the latest news, show blogs, and catch up on what you've missed with our podcast.
We're never more than just a click away.
Download our app at Google Play and on the App Store. From your home for indie sports.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Do you know what's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide? If you guessed Discover.
When it came to setting them up for a bright future, Indiana Tech did more for these graduates than they ever imagined.
It helped me land my dream job and continue to serve people.
It put me in a position to help others reach their potential.
It gave me the background and the confidence to keep aiming higher.
It gave me a platform to help make a difference for others.
With flexible online classes, personalized support to help you succeed, over 100 high-quality career-focused certificates, and degrees in in-demand fields like business, healthcare, engineering, criminal justice, information technology, cybersecurity, and more.
I earned a Master's of Business Administration and Marketing.
I completed my Bachelor's of Business Administration and my MBA, Master's of Business Administration.
I was able to graduate with my Bachelor's of Science and Computer Engineering.
Isn't it time to see what Indiana Tech can do for you?
There's no better time than now.
Learn more at online.indianatech.edu.
Registration for the next class session ends January 9th.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season. I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HAWK to 321-321 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HAWK to 321-321. That's HAWK to 321-321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water. But you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
The Fan cares, and if you or someone you care about needs food assistance, we have resources for you, including food distribution locations with an interactive map. Also, learn how you can make a difference for friends and neighbors in need, all at 1075thefan.com.
COVID-19 has cast a spotlight on the stark inequalities that drive poverty. The poorest communities in the U.S. and around the world are suffering the most. Oxfam believes we can put systems in place to protect health and livelihoods in the future if we work together with dignity and compassion. Learn how you can help offer safety to the most vulnerable and fight for a more resilient future at oxfamamerica.org. Sponsored by Oxfam America.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-466-9625. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-466-9625.
From the DriveHubler.com studios, this is 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, HD3, Indianapolis.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. This is the Fan Morning Show with KB, JB, and Jeff.
The hot start is what probably makes the whole thing hurt even more. But the fact that they were at 8, so soon, and that class of is at 18, that Quentin's class, and then Zaire and those guys, it's a heck of a class. You just know it doesn't last forever. You've had one or two appearances, and you just go, man, is the time going to run out? And that's just reality, right?
You were my son.
First and 10 around the 17-yard line of the Colts. Lawrence again backs the pass, fires it left side around the numbers, and they lateral back to a receiver. I think the Colts have recovered a loose football with Samson Ebicom. 3rd and goal. Rivers out of the gun, has the troops at the right hash. Taylor the back right. They give it to Taylor right at the middle, moving left. Touchdown! Jonathan Taylor with his 18th rushing touchdown of the season. Receiver motion to the right. That's Parker Washington. Back in the throw with Lawrence. In the pocket, dancing, fires into the end zone, and it is intercepted. It's picked off by Jermaine Pratt. In the back right corner of the end zone, an interception thrown by Trevor Lawrence. Jermaine Pratt naps it and prevents the Jaguars from scoring points at the end of the first half.
I think it's just finding a way collectively as a unit of finishing football games. That's really what it comes down to. Play here, play there, call here, call there, whatever it may be, finding a way.
Back in the throw on 3rd and 10. Lawrence with a deep drop. Sends a dart downfield. That's a catch. A penalty on the field. Parker Washington giving ground. Moving to his left. Outside the numbers left. Looking to turn the corner. 15, 10. And he's going to be pushed out of bounds on the left sideline inside the 10. Lawrence, direct snap. He's going to take off and run and scamper into the end zone for a touchdown. He's got 2 rushing touchdowns today. And Jacksonville has the lead for the first time. It's 13-10 over the Colts. Motion out to the left side, including Downs, Warren, and Michael Pittman Jr.
They're blitzing.
Rivers throws that way, intercepted. 30, 25, 20-yard line, and being stopped right there is Jerry and Jones. And the Jaguars are right back into business near the red zone. The rookie quarterback waiting on the shotgun snap. Prevent defense by Jacksonville. They're going to rush 5. Back in the throw is Leonard. steps away from trouble, throws downfield. It's got enough air on it into the end zone, and it is intercepted by Jacksonville at the eye in Indianapolis in the end zone. 23-17 is the final score on the Ruoff Mortgage scoreboard, and the Colts losing skid now has reached 6 games.
Now it's your turn to cry. So tell me a river. Go on and just tell me a river. Go on and just.
I'm used to saying Colts watching the playoffs. That will once again be the case for a 5th straight year. I'm not used to saying it's frickin' Rose Bowl week for the Indiana Hoosiers, but that is where we are at in this year, closing out the year of 2025. Coming up Thursday, 4 o'clock, the Indiana Hoosiers and the Alabama Crimson Tide, a touchdown favorite. We'll see how Mother Nature shows her head coming up on Thursday, because right now, oh boy, it doesn't look too great out there in Pasadena. But safe travels to everybody making the trek out west. The Colts will have one more trip down to Houston. It will officially be 1 o'clock on Sunday. James Boyd, the starting quarterback, will be who?
It should be Riley Leonard, the rookie 6th-round pick who has yet to start in the NFL game and really has only had extended minutes in that one game against the Jaguars. Showed a little promise there, I thought. 1 rushing touchdown, probably had a touchdown that was called back, interception that could have gone either way, honestly. So I'm looking forward to seeing the young guy get some go against what will be a very stout defense in Houston, and a Houston squad that's also still playing for a chance to win the AFC South.
Caleb, let's go ahead and play that. This was Shane Steichen post-game yesterday. Definitely shares his thoughts on Phillip Rivers. I felt like there were a couple of moments where you kind of heard Shane Steichen indirectly admit that this was the last one for Phillip Rivers. At least he was thinking that. But, you know, he mentioned an official decision will come later this week.
Pretty good. You know, obviously 5 years out and coming out and battling, obviously very appreciative of that. I know our players are in that locker room, the coaches, him coming out one last time and fighting like crazy. You know, it was impressive to see, and him being in the locker room with the guys, his fight, his character, his passion for the game, you know, inspirational to a lot of people, not just our players, but, you know, people around the world watching football. It's pretty cool.
And you decide if he's going to play next week?
I'll figure that out Tuesday.
You know, I'll go hat tip to Phillip Rivers.
Little Derek Jeter action?
Yeah, certainly. I think the story, it's inspirational, it's movie-like, all of it. I mean, honestly, he's the perfect character for someone doing this. Like, he's such a unique individual in how he's wired, how he approaches the game of football, how he plays the game of football, all of it. It's a really, really cool story, but I don't need to see it on Sunday. I don't. You know, to me, and I think you do have to be a little cognizant of what 2026, the month of September, could be. You know, I think the Colts think Daniel Jones could be ready for week 1, but still, if he's not for whatever reason, I mean, that would still be a pretty quick timetable. I mean, what would that be? 9 months removed from tearing the Achilles. Let's say you need insert quarterback here for the first few weeks of the season. I would think that Riley Leonard at least getting his feet wet. And boy, you talk about jumping in the deep end, facing that Houston Texans defense who's still playing for a chance to win the AFC South title. I do think that could benefit him. And I guess just to clear everything up on Anthony Richardson, I am assuming the vision impairment for Richardson is still troublesome enough where you don't feel comfortable putting him out there in a game setting. He has practiced each of the last 2 weeks, but that is my assumption.
To your point, Kevin, he has also been limited in every single practice since coming back from the injury in a practice setting. I say coming back because he hasn't fully come back to a game. And I want to throw this out there. We have had this conversation about Riley Leonard in the future, and would he be a viable option to perhaps start the season if Daniel Jones is signed and not ready to go because of the Achilles? But then I hear some birdies in my ear like, wait a second, Anthony Richardson's still under contract. So how do you think he fits into this equation moving forward beyond just next week, but next season?
Yeah, I have to throw this in, James. Are we under the impression everybody's back?
Let's assume that everyone is back for this argument, for this conversation.
So I guess a bit weirdly, I wouldn't say this about many guys on the roster, but I think the return of everybody would be bad for Anthony Richardson. I think as bet is largely already made here in Indy. And I mean that probably specifically with Shane Steichen, in that I think he is probably done with him. And again, the Richardson camp might view this too, of like, guys, this is going nowhere. Can we just shake hands and move on? Like,
Fresh
this
start.
is not, I get that he's under contract for one more year. I get that he's only, 23 years old or however old he is. I understand all that, but it just doesn't seem like this is a very healthy marriage at all. Let's shake hands. We still, we'll say hi to each other at our kids' basketball games, but let's just move on. I kind of feel that is where we're trending with it. Now, if you flip the table upside down, you might all of a sudden have a new regime that comes in here and says, guys, I don't give two bleeps about day 3 Riley Leonard at pick 189. Anthony Richardson still under contract for 2026? Sure.
I got no picks.
Why not?
Just roll the dice.
You know?
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, maybe all of a sudden a new voice, because, again, that's been the weird thing with the Richardson tenure. All the voices have been the same. His OC, his quarterback's coach, his head coach, obviously, his play caller. Like, all those voices have been the same. A lot of times with these young quarterbacks, James, you see voices change. Bryce Young, for example. It's changed in Carolina. Now, all of a sudden, they could be in the playoffs. Certainly, Caleb Williams would be maybe the poster child of it. Now, not all of it works in that way, but I do think if you all of a sudden made changes, then that door might be cracked a little bit more. But I would say if you are team run it back in 2026, I don't think that would be very advantageous to those wanting to see Richardson for, I guess, just point blank to put on a Colts uniform again.
I mean,
my guess is it's Riley Leonard starting and it's Phillip Rivers as the backup on Sunday. Technically, Brett Rippon is gone. For those that have been keeping track of the quarterback depth chart, he's now in Minnesota, was claimed by them. So technically, they only have 3 quarterbacks in the building, practice squad, active roster. So, you need 2 of those 3 to go out there. There's no chance we see
Kevin, get your arm ready.
There's no chance we see Rivers, right?
No. There should be a 0% chance we see him. But I guess the only way you would see him again, unfortunately, is if Riley got hurt.
Which,
in week 18.
Unfortunately, has been a part of his career, and obviously he got banged up in the one game action he got here in Jacksonville.
So it's something to certainly keep in mind, but I'm very curious to see how things kind of play out this week when it comes to the practice participation of Anthony Richardson. If they just go out and say on Wednesday, because that's next time we'll talk to Shane, and we'll probably hear something before then. Is Riley your starter? Does he get all the first team reps? And you kind of just flip it like that for the season finale, because for those who kept asking, and I get it, it's kind of nuanced if you're not, working these NFL spaces like we are. But the reason why Phillip Rivers started yesterday in a meaningless game was because it wasn't meaningless as they prepared for the game. He took all the first team reps. And as you know, Kevin, and I do agree with this thinking from the Colts, you do not want to throw Riley in there, no first team reps at all, hasn't prepared, and say, have at it. I do think you would be putting him at more risk and more danger than giving him an opportunity, like some people might view it. It's a little bit different. This isn't basketball. You probably want to give him those 3 days to prepare.
Yeah, I have little to no issue, James, of them operating the manner they did last week. I mean, you found out
I was
you
just
were
clarifying because I think some people just don't understand how that NFL schedule kind of works. Like you're leading up to a game.
Right.
Wednesday, is install. Thursday you're going over things. Friday, like it's huge to get those reps. And when you don't get that, that's also huge in the reverse. So it's not as simple as playing a game of Madden and saying I'll just change my starter.
317-239-1070 if you want to join the conversation, phone line or text line with that. Shout out to Ashton Doolin. I just I did not think that all of a sudden on this Monday show I'd be talking a little bit more about the return of Ashton Doolin and Sauce Gardner with both of them back in the lineup, but that dude just continually makes quality football plays when he's asked to do something, and typically it's special teams related, and I know that's boring and it might be a little nerdy, but James, without Doolin, I don't know if you even get to 17 points yesterday. I mean, he has the big return to start the game.
That's a good point.
And you get 3 off of that. And then the other big return, I think that one set up maybe the other field goal, or maybe it was the touchdown drive. Nonetheless, of your 3 scoring drives, Ashton Doolin gave you the ball on the right side of the 50 both times. And again, as a punt gunner, he makes some big plays. And, for a game that was one possession for so long, I mean, Doolin was looking like one of the players of the game for you as that thing played out yesterday. So, again, it'll quickly get lost in the shuffle, and totally understandably so. But I wanted to make sure that we mentioned Doolin because just seems to do so many right things for this football team, even if it doesn't pop up necessarily onto massive headlines.
He's just a dude. And we were talking about this. What things, you could probably count on your hand what things Ashton Doolin can't do on a football field quicker than the things he can do. Like, if you told me he was lining up to play safety, I'd probably be like, all right.
Well, didn't he play defense this year?
Oh, he actually did. Yeah, he actually had a blitz.
Yeah, he did. I remember that now. Good.
He had a blitz
callback,
against
Kevin.
Arizona back in week 6. That was a bizarre week. We had Ashton Doolin blitzing and 2 guys going IR before the game started. Crazy week.
Like if the Colts were a baseball team, Ashton Doolin would be the dude that plays 9 positions in a blowout.
I'm pretty sure I want to ask him this. Well, actually, I probably shouldn't, honestly, because it might be a little disrespectful. He wasn't a highly recruited guy, but if he had been, he would be what we list on, like, what is it, Max Preps and 24/7 Sports, athlete. You recruited position, athlete.
ATH, baby.
That's what he is.
8-2 start for the Colts since 2000. You've had 96 teams start 8-2. The Colts are the first team to have not made the playoffs after starting 8-2. And I said it earlier in the show, I think it's something that can't get lost in the evaluation of Chris Ballard in particular. Ballard's resume has the opportunity, or has had the opportunity, I should say, to benefit from the NFL expanding their playoffs. When you get into this historical data, one thing about the NFL that I think helps it out in just kind of comparing, eras is, for the most part, we've had a very consistent playoff format. 1990, I think is when it changed, but for the most part, you've had the 6 teams, from each conference, and the top 2 teams would get the bye. Well, in the COVID year, 2000, the league decided to expand it by 1 playoff team. So now we have 7 from each conference get in, so 7 of 16, and we only have 1 bye now. And so now you look at the Colts, and in this current era of a 5-year playoff drought streak, that is with a 7th and additional playoff team. And if you want to get technical, of the 2 playoff appearances the Colts have had, one of them is due to the 7th spot. That 2020 season, that COVID season, they were the last team to make it. So to me, that I think is another, kind of damning con, if you will, on the Ballard resume. When you start to compare him historically to other GMs, all of them were fighting, or a lot of them, I should say, were fighting for the 6 playoff spots. Ballard has benefited from the 7th playoff spot, but yet hasn't been able to take advantage of it.
Can I throw something in here? Because I heard you guys bring up that fact in the first segment of the show today, that this is the first team since 1995, the Raiders, to go 8-2 and miss playoffs. And I was just interested. So I looked up about how that season went for the Raiders, and I'm drawing 2 similarities here. So Jeff Hostetler was their QB. He injured his shoulder earlier in the season, missed a game or 2, I think, and then re-aggravated it when they were 8-2 playing the Cowboys and missed the rest of the season. So I think that's a recipe for a collapse. And we saw that with Daniel Jones, kind of, had an injury, and then it kind of made, speculating, allegedly maybe, that's how he tore his Achilles, is kind of the overworking of his other leg. And then the second thing would be that the Raiders' last 6 games were all against teams above 500. And I think you saw that with the Colts this year. The schedule got tougher. The teams got better.
Yeah, loaded in the back half.
And they weren't able to come through.
Yeah, I think those are very relevant points. I mean, it was definitely a backloaded
Good
schedule.
Deep dive, Caleb.
I mean, we will
nice.
probably look at it, and the first half of the schedule. I mean, while you did have Denver, you did have the Rams, you did have the Chargers. A lot of teams drafted in the top 10. Whereas, since Kansas City, every team's been a playoff team, I think. I don't know if that's exactly how it'll play out when it's all said and done, but you had passed the test up until that point. But I think we tried to mention throughout, the NFL, I mean, a 17-week grind is a grind. I mean, it is a long, long season. And, I mean, look at Houston. They lost their first 3 games, and right now, there's some people that probably think Houston could get on a run in the AFC with that defense. And they could be having a home game in round 1 if things break their way coming up on Sunday.
The Jaguars were supposed to be a cute story. They're, like, legitimately good now.
Well, and they've flipped it, too. They were turning the ball over, forcing turnovers, that is, at a stupid historic rate early in the season.
Which is why I thought they would regress.
I thought that was a fluke. And now Trevor Lawrence is taking his game to another level. The Jacoby Myers trade has been great for them. Their defense still, makes enough plays. Travis Etienne, I think, has had a really solid year. And they've patchworked that offensive line. I think the Colts, yesterday, that was actually some Colts pass rush we hadn't seen in a while. Now, it really didn't show up in the second half. But in that first half, you took advantage of a banged-up Jacksonville front there. I thought you had some really nice moments in that game that kind of helped you out. But, I mean, boy, Jacksonville was just clearly the better team. I mean, did it end up being double the yardage amount, James? Did Jacksonville end up having double the yardage?
I got to go back and check myself, actually.
It was pretty close throughout the game. Jacksonville, I think, was like 380, 390, and the Colts were hovering right around 200.
Because didn't they have, like, 2 turnovers in the red zone? I know they were close on that first possession.
They had 2 turnovers in the red zone, and they also had the QB sneak that got stuffed there in the fourth quarter. So they had 3 turnovers in scoring position. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with the hook and ladder.
That I was hoping that we would talk about that because the Colts defense is chopped cheese on that first drive.
It was like it was like some season ticket member got to call a play on the opening drive.
It's like Liam Cohen, bro. Like, we get it. You're a good offensive mind. You don't need to show off like that.
Shad Khan had a big gala in the offseason, and some fan donated thousands of dollars to call a play in the Indianapolis game on the opening drive. It's like, yeah, I mean, I guess Travis Etienne could have just caught it and everything would have been fine, but still, it was like the most unnecessary trick play of all time. We'll see about Phillip Rivers and exactly what his status will be coming up Week 18. It was an emotional Uncle Phil post game. We'll play that audio upcoming in a few, but go ahead, Caleb Zuber, let's check it out.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, let's start around the NFL in Week 17. We don't have a lot to play for as we kind of shift gears here coming up to the final weekend of the year, but we do know the Saturday slate. The first game coming up at 4:30 this Saturday. You'll have the NFC South Championship, if you will. It'll either be Carolina or Tampa, the winner for that. We'll get a home game, and we'll host somebody out of the NFC West. The nightcap on Saturday will be the NFC West title game, and that is the 1 seed. Either going to be the 49ers or the Seahawks for the 1 seed out west. Our final game of the 2025 calendar, game 272, Steelers and Ravens. And Caleb Zuber, you thought the Steelers were the most unserious team in the NFL this past weekend.
It's an indictment on Rodgers, Tomlin, a great organization that has been steady for years, but you're more worried about Myles Garrett getting a sack record than clinching the division? Come on.
Yeah, that was some horrible offense I was watching.
How about Derrick Henry?
Is he good at football?
Oh, my God.
Analysis?
Man. Some of those stiff arms are just so disrespectful.
I know. Also, shout out to Miles McLaughlin. I saw he got honored at the Colts game yesterday. Had me thinking about how close he was to knocking off Derrick Henry for the career high school rushing record. But nevertheless, still a great career for that young man.
Would you rather watch Miles McLaughlin play quarterback Week 18 or Riley Leonard?
Ooh, boy. I would probably still roll with Riley. I love Miles, but I don't know if you can run the wing T against Houston.
Again, Week 18 schedule announced late last night, officially 1 o'clock on Sunday. 10-point underdog. The Colts facing the Texans. Again, Houston still has a chance at the AFC South. They will need Jacksonville, though, to lose to Tennessee in order to have that opportunity. Of course, Houston would need to win as well. All right, tonight, Pacers back in action. It is 8 straight losses. Weirdly, they are starting to, though, get a little bit healthier. Aaron Nesmith made his return to the lineup after missing a month and a half over the weekend, but typical Pacers this season, they seemingly have great stretches and then get absolutely torched for a quarter or so, and that is the difference. We saw that, I would say, in both games this weekend. Houston tonight, they are a big underdog down there against the Rockets. Is Şengün still just getting buckets like no other on dudes? That guy is so skilled.
I think he was out the last couple of games, so maybe that'll benefit the Pacers if he's not available tonight. But at the same time, yes, he is still very good at basketball.
Pacers got a lot of injuries at center, though. That's the one area where they are banged up right now. Jay Huff, questionable for tonight. What else do we got? Purdue back in action. Matt Painter's bunch on the hardwood here tonight. It's their final non-conference game. Kent State. I think I saw my guy, Stoff Kendrick, on the color call for that one. Big Ten Plus for Purdue fans out there as college basketball gets back underway. Butler at Creighton coming up tomorrow night. And it is Rose Bowl week. The Indiana Hoosiers taking on the Crimson Tide of Alabama. That spread right around a touchdown favorite for Kurt Cignetti's bunch. That number surprise you about what you would expect?
I think that was about what I would expect. And, I mean, I know it's early, but picking IU to cover.
98% chance of rain if I'm seeing this weather forecast right.
What's the difference between 98% and 97%? Like, just say 100 at that point.
This is
stick on the tens here. 90, 80, 70. We don't need 98.
This is like when I was in grade school and I was trying to get the teacher to round up. What's the difference between like 89.8 and 90?
Tell that to the Colts playoff chances, right? That's what we saw play out here this year.
I was like, can you round up 0%?
Shout out to Brownsburg High School. I saw they're going to be in the Tournament of Roses parade on New Year's Day. So I believe Mike Wells, baton twirler coach there for the Brownsburg Bulldogs.
I was about to say we can't be playing any Mike Wells audio around the band. Would be not appropriate for school airwaves.
No, we'll say that for Mark Dykton when he makes his return coming up next weekend. All right, on the other side, much more on the Colts and the big picture reaction to what happened yesterday. A fifth straight year of missing the playoffs, 8 straight years without a playoff win, and 11 without a home playoff game. Kevin Bowe and James Boyd, Caleb Zuber on a Monday.
Heat and cool your man cave, attic, garage, or bonus room without adding ductwork with Mitsubishi Electric ductless mini splits.
To find out more, just go to absolutecomfort.org.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HAWK to 321-321 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HAWK to 321-321. That's HAWK to 321-321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
When I decided to do something about my thinning hair, I knew I had to pick the right team, and that was We Grow Hair Indy. If you want the best results, you go where the pros go. That is We Grow Hair Indy. They are the gold standard when it comes to hair restoration. Located northwest side, that would be the Pyramids, building number 2, and a free evaluation awaits. You contact them today. It's WeGrowHairIndy.com or call 317-522-2995. Again, that's WeGrowHairIndy.com, 317-522-2995.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's the final days of our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
I think, credit to them. I think they did some good things. But I think overall, we just got to keep some momentum going offensively and moving the football. Stalled out a few drives there. So obviously, offensively, got to do some, better things to keep that, the points going.
It is a 2-9 record for Shane Steichen football teams against the Texans and the Jags in these 3 seasons as head coach. I think that maybe is the biggest reason why enough would be enough for 3 years as head coach for Shane. I don't get the impression that he thinks he's on any sort of hot seat, but that stat, that is just, ooh, boy, is that ugly. 2-9 against Houston and Jacksonville. And James, one of those wins, the meaningless overtime win with Mac Jones at quarterback for the Jags last season.
That's the season finale?
Season finale.
Boy, yeah. When you put it like that, not good. And I will say this. You're also, from a big picture standpoint, those are your last 2 division winners. Over the last, 3 years? I don't know the last time that Tennessee won the division, but
yeah, Houston's won it. I think
they're going for the trifecta.
They're going for 3
They've
in a
won
row.
it 2.
Yeah. Jacksonville right now controls it if they win. They beat Tennessee on Sunday.
But to your point, you would have had a chance to win the division had you probably won a few of those games. You had it on a platter there in your first season. Now, granted, that was with Gardner Minshew and a backup quarterback. I get all that, but over this extended period of time to play that poorly against your division rivals, biggest games of the year annually, that's pretty damning.
Yeah, and I think being eliminated prior to Week 18 now for 2 straight years is also making the taste even more sour. Like, you're not getting even to Week 18 with a chance. And that's with, as we've talked about all morning long, you got 7 of the 16 teams in the AFC, NFC, of course, getting in. That's nearly half the conference. And you're not even getting to the final week of the season with a chance. Obviously, you did the first year.
Yeah.
It came down to that game with Houston. But last year, this time last year, we were talking about the ugly ass kicking in New York to Drew Lock.
Good Lord.
And now we're talking about a 6-game losing streak and a historical collapse.
Well, I have a question for you and Caleb. And this is a question that I have stolen from our buddy Stephen Holder of ESPN. He was asking the players after the game, how would you define this season? Are you a good team that was decimated by injuries, or were you not a good team because you couldn't overcome some of those obstacles, including injuries?
I think there's too many close games that they lost to sit here and say that they were a good team. Now, I think the talk was through the first 8 weeks, it was that, hey, good teams blow out the ones they're supposed to. And that is a characteristic of a good team, and they were doing that, and they deserve some credit for that. But all the other characteristics were missing. Maybe not all, but a lot of them. And so at the end of the day, when you look at the whole picture, no, they were not good enough. And there was too many close games even after the Daniel Jones injury where you're just like, they didn't do enough down the stretch.
Yeah, I can't call anyone a good team that loses 6 straight and 7 of 8.
No.
You go around the league, James. I know there's not a lot of these teams that fall in the category, but there are several teams that have gotten deep on the quarterback depth chart this year and have won a football game. You know, we keep on bringing up Cleveland yesterday and their situation. I mean, they beat a team that was competing for a playoff spot. You know, when you look at, you know, team in the Detroit Lions, we're still hanging in there, and Minnesota found a way to beat them over the weekend. Not the prettiest looking thing, but when adversity hits, are you able to find other ways to scrap, claw, scratch, fight, however you want to look at it, for a win? So, you know, obviously injuries hurt them. I'm not going to ignore that or just sweep it under the rug, but part of the 17-week grind is being able to at some point overcome it. And look, they only needed to overcome it, what, once maybe? I mean, if you win the right game, if you would have beaten Houston, for example, at home, whatever, a month ago, before, you know, really all the injuries started to impact you, you know, that was still what, pre-Achilles for Daniel Jones, we could be talking about a different conversation here. So that's where I would go. Again, I don't think, you know, when we rank the 9 seasons of Chris Ballard, James, is this going to be number 1 on the egregious scale? No. I think that's a ludicrous thought to say that. But in a bottom line business, the resume is the resume. And we've pointed it out now throughout the first 90 minutes of the show, and we will continue to do so. Sadly, unfortunately, it's the definition of UGLY.
You ain't got no alibi.
I was hoping someone would chime in. Thank you, Caleb. How common do you think it is for a head coach to get a 4th year with no playoff appearances? We talk a lot about Ballard. I think
I'm actually not sure. Is there a way I can look this up? I mean, I can manually do it, I would suppose, but
we talk a lot about Ballard, I guess, just to start off.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's, frankly, anyone out there, James, that thinks he should get a 10th year. I don't know. If you feel like Chris Ballard should get a 10th year, 317-239-1070. But the Shane Steichen 4th year is a little bit more, I think, of a debate within the fan base. So how much do you view 25-25 as a record? The quarterback situation being how it's been. The record against Houston and Jacksonville being what it's been. And missing the playoffs 3 straight years.
And I would even say, when we talk about Shane, and granted, I don't know what all it entails to be a head coach, but are you confident that he can be a head coach and be a good head coach? Because I don't doubt that he is a good offensive mind, at least personally. There's been times, I will say,
I would agree with that.
There's times where I'm like, all right, brother, run the ball. You know, I think that happens from time to time with him. Clock management might not be his best friend in some instances, but I think overall,
boy, that was a rough end of the first half yesterday.
Yeah,
Jermaine Pratt bailed them out.
It was, but you can make an argument that he is a good offensive mind, and he's kind of made something out of not nothing, but not good ingredients when it comes to the quarterback position always being banged up, some of the offensive injuries he had throughout the last couple of years to key players. I get all that, but also from a front-facing standpoint, does he meet the moment enough? And I'm not so sure about that part of it.
Yeah, this is where I get back into like the individual grades. Like if I were assessing letter grades, and I'm just saying this off the top of my head, James, if I were assessing letter grades to, you know, Chris Ballard's tenure and Shane Steichen's tenure, the Ballard tenure would be like a D-, and the Steichen tenure would be, I don't know, C-.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's as damning, but also, you know, it comes back to the old debate of, do you tie those two at the hip? And how awkward is it if you don't tie them at the hip?
Yeah.
I do think offensively, there's a lot to like about what he brings to the table. But unfortunately, the big picture as the head coach, and I think times that just gets lost with him and the evaluation. And look, you can point to a lot of coaches around the league that do both and wear those hats very well. I mean, I think if you looked at the playoff picture, James, you look at whenever we get there on Sunday night and you look at the 14 teams, it's probably split around the league of head coaches. How many of the playoff head coaches also call their team's offensive plays, and how many of them are more the CEO? It's probably split.
Yeah.
And certainly at the time, given your quarterback situation, you know, you needed probably more of that offensive head coach. And, what do you typically do? You typically kind of go a little bit more, from a 180 standpoint there. So, all of a sudden would Carly Ursay-Gordon view it as, hey, we need more of a CEO type in here as a head coach? If you made me say, hey, what would you do right now? I probably would fire the GM, let the new GM evaluate Shane Steichen in however manner they want to. And that could mean you walk in this building and within a week you say, hey, head coach is fired. I'm going to tie it together. I'm going to start it over. Or you sit there and say, you know what? I think Shane has had his hand tied behind his back a little bit here from a personnel standpoint. I'm going to try to help him out in that area. I think there's some potential here as an offensive guy. Maybe staff-wise, I need to get a few more voices in there that can help him out, challenge him in some other ways, and we'll see if I can work with him. That's kind of my general thought. Like when people ask me, what do you think the Colts should do? That's probably where I'm at. I don't love the idea of not tying them together, and I'm a little skeptical of my own thought, to be honest with you. But that's probably where I would go.
Again, I can see a lot of different ways for this team to go, a lot of nuance in that decision, but I'm probably leaning more toward your side, Kevin, just because,
And no vet would be safe. I don't know if I need to say that, but nobody on this roster would be safe. I look at this roster, and I'm talking the elite of the elites. Nobody on this roster I view as untouchable. And the one that people would probably hold in that regard would be Quentin Nelson. If you told me tomorrow I could get 2 quality day 1, day 2 picks for Quentin Nelson, I'd probably do it in a heartbeat.
Are you saying that if you change GMs, or are you saying that in general?
Well, I'm saying that in general. Obviously, the likelihood would be a lot different if you did change GMs than if you didn't. But, this core to me, I don't think I guess I'm grouping them all together, but I don't think anybody's earned the right to be, again, truly untouchable. What is the group one?
No, I agree, but my argument, and I'm not saying this is my personal belief, but the argument is, well, if you do look at 2026 right now, from a roster construction standpoint, how do you not run it back considering what you've invested? And I'm not saying it's the right decision, but I could see them doing it just because it's either that, or if you blow up the roster, you need to just get rid of everybody then, in my opinion.
See, this is where I understand where you're coming from, but this is where I push back and that trade being greenlighted during the middle of the season. Because when you made the trade for Sauce Gardner, to me, you obviously said a lot about your belief in Sauce Gardner as a player, but you said a whole lot more in what you thought of Daniel Jones and Chris Ballard.
That's what I'm saying.
And so I don't necessarily view it like, if I'm Ballard, I'm thinking, wait a minute, if I make this trade, no matter what happens, I get to save my job for the next playoffs. Well, of course you're going to do that trade. If it guarantees my job security. And that's where the Carly Ursay-Gordon element, James, is a little uneasy for me. And by that, I mean this. When you make that trade, and if she indeed, as reports indicate, green-lighted it, she is saying to her organization, Daniel Jones, you are an unquestioned franchise quarterback. Chris Ballard, you are a 1,000% GM moving forward. And you're telling me 7 weeks of football earned the right for Daniel Jones to be that? 7 weeks of football earned the right for Chris Ballard to be that? That makes no sense to me.
It ain't got to make sense to you. But my point is, when you look at, all I'm saying is, and I agree with you from this standpoint, but all I'm saying is devil's advocate, and I hate when I use that line because I'm like, who wants to be the freaking devil? But if you make those moves, Kevin, you're saying you believe in the roster that you have. And you have a chance to change your mind. But my only pushback to that is, if you change your mind, then you need to be all in about doing that. I don't want to see a bunch of tinkering with the roster. If you say we are not good enough, whether you keep Chris Ballard or not, whether you keep Shane Steichen or not, then you need to be getting rid of everybody. Like you said, offloading players, recouping draft capital, and then you got to prepare yourself and your fan base for some ugly, lean years. Because I think people right now don't realize, and honestly, as someone who is not from the state of Indiana, did not grow up as a Colts fan, you have been spoiled with the whole terrible, bad experience. Because when you finally got bad from the Peyton Manning years, you were gifted Andrew Luck. Now you're going through some bad, middling years. But it can get a whole lot worse for a whole lot longer.
I would argue 11 straight years without a home playoff game, 8 straight years without a playoff win, and 5 straight years without a playoff appearance is pretty bad.
Oh, brother, it can get worse. And I'm not saying like
I would argue it's pretty freaking bad right now.
And
I get that the grass might look a lot browner, but it's pretty damn brown to me. It looks like Kevin Bowen's front yard right now.
And that's fine. All I'm saying is prepare your fan base. You're going to be the Titans. Prepare for that.
317-239-1070. You want to join the
Titans
conversation?
have won the division recently than the Colts. So I lost that argument already.
Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, Caleb Zuber. Thanks for starting your week with us right here on The Fan.
107.5 The Fan and Franciscan Health present Good for the Heart Fridays. Listen to Jake Query every Friday to hear a heartwarming story from our local community. Jake knows firsthand the importance of heart health. Jake and The Fan have teamed up with Franciscan Health to make a difference, one beat at a time. Good for the Heart Fridays, brought to you by Franciscan Health Heart Center. Learn proactive measures to keep your heart healthy and schedule your heart scan at franciscanhealth.org/screening bundles.
Baseball great Lou Gehrig was known as the Iron Horse for playing 2,130 consecutive games. But it was his reaction to his greatest challenge, the fatal diagnosis of ALS, that made Gehrig a household name and a beacon of strength for all those facing the disease. The Live Like Lou Foundation honors Lou's legacy and inspires hope for a world where ALS is no longer fatal. Donate or volunteer today at livelikeLou.org.
This is Window Nation, your source for affordable replacement windows at the highest quality. Maybe you've been feeling drafts through your old windows, or they stick when you try to open them, or they outright leak in bad weather. You need the experienced pros at Window Nation. They've installed over 3 million windows and have high-quality options to fit any budget. You could pay a lot less than the other big guys and still get the premium windows you're dreaming of. Their custom-made windows are guaranteed to be a perfect fit in your home, and they back it up with the best warranty in the industry. So shut out the drafts, make opening and closing a breeze, and lock out the leaks for good. Get a great deal on replacement windows from Window Nation today. Go to getwindownation.com or call 866-90NATION for your free estimate. And for a limited time, get 50% off all window styles, plus pay no interest for 5 years. Go to getwindownation.com or call 866-90NATION.
Food insecurity is an urgent problem, one that impacts real Hoosiers. You can help today. Gleaners needs donations. Your contribution goes further with Gleaners. For every $10 you give, Gleaners leverages their resources to turn your $10 into $90 worth of groceries for families who desperately need help right now. Your gift benefits local community members, and every dollar counts. Gleaners also needs volunteers now to help with warehouse distribution. Go to gleaners.org and donate or get involved today.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, who's a good boy? Oh, who's what? Oh,
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and
Drivers
conditions
who
apply.
switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time.
on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water, but you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
It's JMV for BullseyeEventGroup.com, the Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. All you can eat, all you can drink. Before each Colts home game, make your game day experience the best it can be. Entertained inside the Bullseye Event Center and the great food from celebrity chef Kelsey Murphy. That and more, and combo up your passes with tickets to the game. That's the BullseyeEventGroup.com Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. Get your passes now. BullseyeEventGroup.com.
The Ohio State Buckeyes take on the Miami Hurricanes in the Cotton Bowl. Wednesday night at 7 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Cans in the bag, but I know y'all wanted that 808. Can you feel that beat?
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
I need to play this when Ashton Doolin takes another kick return back. James Boyd moving and grooving here on a Monday. Rose Bowl week for IU fans. Purdue basketball back in action tonight up in West Lafayette. I think that's needed to be said here on this Monday, as we've talked a lot about another January on the couch for the Indianapolis Colts as they can start the Caribbean vacations a bit early here with the official elimination from the playoffs on Saturday. We've talked a lot about it here on the morning show. Again, Sunday, 1 o'clock will be the season finale down there in Houston. 10-point underdog, and we'll await confirmation on exactly what the quarterback depth chart looks like, just kind of get everybody up to speed on where things are at. Anthony Richardson Sr. has practiced limited the last 2 weeks. Some vision issues, questions seem to still be there for him, so putting him out there in a game setting I think remains a hurdle. So will we get Riley Leonard as starter, Phillip Rivers as backup on Sunday? Shane Steichen pretty non-committal on that. I did think there were a couple of moments, though, even Rivers. I don't know if you watched, James. Rivers was on the Fox pregame show before the game, and even he said, like, a last time. Now, I don't know if he was referencing the home aspect to it, like playing inside of Lucas Oil Stadium, but it almost seemed like there were a couple of moments where Steichen and Rivers both kind of alluded to, hey, man, this is probably going to be it. You think that was some of his emotion post-game?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's not naive. He knows full well this should be his last NFL start, his last NFL snap, and that's it. You tried. Had you won a game, perhaps you're still in the mix for a Week 18 start, but, brother, that is the end of the road.
Again, post-game yesterday, Rivers with the St. Michael crew in the building there. James Boyd threw the question at him about this potentially being it.
If it is, and again, I'm going to be on board and supportive of whatever the organization, Shane, and however that decision is going to come to be. I'm sure I'll have some conversation. It won't just be a blindside Tuesday, conversation from him. And I'm going to be on board to do what's best for the guys. I mean, if this was the last one, I told you guys I wasn't going to have any regrets about coming back, and I don't. It's other than us not winning, right? Us not winning. It's been an absolute blast for 3 weeks. I wouldn't. If I go back and say, all right, now everything's going to happen, what are you going to do? I'd do it all again. It's been absolutely awesome. So, yeah, I mean, if it's the last one, it's the last one. I thought the last one was walking off the field in Buffalo, walking up that tunnel, and I was fine with that. And that one had tears those few days after it, and I was at peace with that being the last one. So certainly if it is, I got 3 bonus games that I never saw coming, and couldn't be more thankful that I got the opportunity.
An emotional Phillip Rivers post-game. Again, the movie, how do you not fall in love with it? I mean, it's inspirational. It's he'd be the perfect person to play his own life, frankly, and just how his emotion on the field. How nuts he went after the Josh Downs catch challenge. I mean, that man was going nuts after that play with the official.
And that really stuck out to me when asking him about the potential last start. And I think someone might have asked him as well about the whole meaningless aspect of the game. And he got on the soapbox and was like, hey, nothing we do in life is meaningless. And as cliche as that might sound, I thought he was very authentic in laying out why it matters. He's, the guy's 44 and he's like, I remember being 10 years old and losing to my friends at the park. And, you either go home crying or you go home happy. And there is a certain Disney movie aspect of it, like a feel-good nature to him trying to do what turned out to be impossible. I mean, he was trying to be the third quarterback age 44 or older in the NFL to win a game, and he just wasn't able to do it. He's only the sixth quarterback ever to play in a game at 44 or older. But when you get past all of that feel-goodness, if that's a word, you get this kind of sinking in reality of, oh boy, we're still in trouble here. And I think that was my overall takeaway leaving Lucas Oil Stadium last night, Kevin.
Yeah, I would agree on that. It's, in Friday Night Lights, Permian runs into Dallas Carter, right? And in the Phillip Rivers movie, I think he's run into the equivalent of Dallas Carter. He looked his age yesterday to me. The story started to get a little sad. And again, the offense.
And you want him back for a 2026 season. You want him to lose his ability to use his right arm by starting next season for the Colts.
You did allude to that, Kevin. Don't run from this one.
I believe I asked the question. I didn't say I wanted it.
James, I think, just is insulted that you're even posing it.
Yeah.
So I think
Have you seen how the Indianapolis Colts have operated over the last decade, James Boyd? Anything's on the table.
This is true.
Jeff Saturday might be coaching this team come week 1 next year.
I should take your advice on this. You've been running longer than me, and every time I think I've seen something crazy, I feel like it's you, Mike Chappell, and Stephen Holder telling me, boy, relax. You ain't seen enough.
Again, I assume it'll be Riley Leonard coming up on Sunday, and it probably would have been the same result with Leonard over the last 3 weeks, but the offense is just so archaic with Rivers. It just is. And the numbers back it up. I mean, they were 3.7 yards per attempt yesterday. Per play, I should say. They were 3.6, I believe, in Seattle. If you look at the Steichen tenure, 3 years, that would be the second and the third fewest in his 3 years. And I guess there's no way to say that without, I guess, it coming as a knock on Rivers. But just with him as a quarterback, there's so many limitations to this offense. And no more than the potency aspect to it.
Sorry for laughing. Derek White, a P1 listener, he said, give Phillip Rivers some weight loss shots and get him ready for 2026. Boy, I bet not see Phillip Rivers on Ozempic, man. No way. No, I don't want Ozempic, Phil.
I think Eli Lilly's got a new drug coming out, right? I mean, can we get some local product here?
Oh, man, no. I don't want to
put the Lilly patch on the Colts uniform for next year?
Oh, gosh. Boy. I agree. I mean,
it's an awesome story.
Yeah.
But the NFL reality is hit.
And this sport is very unforgiving. And I will say this, too.
I mean, man, he ran into his own offensive lineman and fell down for a sack yesterday.
But to your point about, it's an awesome story that probably needs to come to an end. I talked to Eric Weddle for that story I did on, the former players, former teammates of Phillip Rivers reacting to him coming out of retirement. Eric Weddle was very real in saying, when you do something like I did, he came out of a 2-year retirement. Granted, he was, I think, 36 when he came back. Phillip coming back out of a 5-year retirement, being 44, he said in no uncertain terms, your body is on a timer. You will get hurt. He tore his pectoral muscle in the Super Bowl after winning it and was obviously in excruciating pain because of it. And he didn't go this far, but he told me, look, man, I just pray that nobody falls on this guy's ribs at 44 and he's, having to have surgery or something at that age. So, yes, it's a feel-good story, but this is a very violent game, and boy, it is not an old man's game.
9 o'clock hour, if you want to join the conversation, 317-239-1070. We'll take some calls here coming up. Talk whatever you want to, whether it's the reaction from yesterday or the big-picture view of the Colts in a 5th straight season without the playoffs. Kevin Bowe and James Boyd and Caleb Zuber on a Monday.
The Ride with JMV.
I go back to January and with Chris Ballard prior to that, just wanting to make dramatic changes because I felt it was time. But when you ask me in the present if I think they're going to do it, I would tell you by what they did with the 2 first-rounders, that tells you that they're going to be back. But what would change that? Would losing out this season?
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 till 6.
On 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Heat and cool with nearly geothermal efficiency in places you can't fit ductwork with Mitsubishi electric ductless mini splits.
Just go to AbsoluteComfort.org. That's AbsoluteComfort.org.
Looking for something to do on New Year's Eve? Nemhard has it. Drives to the dotted half, up top to Huff, and Huff delivers a catch-and-shoot 3. Start your New Year celebration as the Pacers host the Orlando Magic in an afternoon game Wednesday at 3. It's a celebration for the whole family. 4 seconds to shoot, 3 seconds to shoot. Nemhard way out on the left edge, beat the clock and hit a 3. Get your tickets at Pacers.com/tickets. Jackson lays it in and draws a foul. Pacers Magic, Wednesday at 3.
We Grow Hair Indy. They're the gold standard when it comes to hair restoration. They're ready to help you out today. Northwest side, that would be the Pyramids, building number 2 up there. And online, of course, WeGrowHairIndy.com. If you ever had questions about hair transplants or regenerative treatments, you owe it to yourself to get some answers to those questions, curiosity that you've had. Free evaluation awaits, virtual evaluation, private evaluation. All of that is available to you. Again, that is We Grow Hair Indy, the gold standard for hair restoration. 2026 right around the corner. You owe it to yourself. Contact them today and get some answers to the questions you've had. The gold standard. It's We Grow Hair Indy.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day and nothing worked until Mark Patrick hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food. Crazy. Enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again. My blood pressure went down, and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis. Only $59.99. Destroy unwanted cravings. January 29th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking at 8. Or January 31st, Holiday Inn Express Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking at 2. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Are you hungry, Indy? Cluster Truck, Indiana's go-to pickup and delivery kitchen, crushes all cravings. Pizza, tacos, salads. If you're craving it, it's probably on the menu. Order now at clustertruck.com and use code BIGFAN, all one word, for $5 off, $25 or more.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
COVID-19 has cast a spotlight on the stark inequalities that drive poverty. The poorest communities in the U.S. and around the world are suffering the most. Oxfam believes we can put systems in place to protect health and livelihoods in the future if we work together with dignity and compassion. Learn how you can help offer safety to the most vulnerable and fight for a more resilient future at oxfamamerica.org. Sponsored by Oxfam America.
Imagine if today was the day your idea changed someone's life. With GoFundMe, it's all possible. Help someone pay for college, help your community build a new playground, or help a child make it to that dream competition. GoFundMe is the world's #1 fundraising platform trusted by over 200 million people. Don't wait for someone else to bring change. Start your fundraiser today at GoFundMe.com/radio. That's GoFundMe.com/RADIO. This is a commercial message sponsored by GoFundMe.
From the DriveHubler.com studios, this is 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, HD3, Indianapolis.
Hey, JMV, join me coming up Monday at 3. Jaguars Colts recap and what you need to know. Coming up, that's Monday at 3. Don't miss it.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Motion out to the left side, including Downs, Warren, and Michael Pittman Jr.
They're blitzing.
Rivers throws that way, intercepted, 30, 25, 20-yard line, and being stopped right there is Jerrion Jones. He came away with his second interception in as many games. The second-year cornerback out of Florida State comes away with the interception, and the Jaguars are right back into business near the red zone.
Hell of a tackle by Josh Downs.
That actually was.
4-point saving tackle by Josh Downs.
Yeah, but boy, when we're talking about a hell of a tackle by Josh Downs here on a Monday morning.
Don't say anything positive, man.
That is true. He also had a crazy catch on the sideline that got a nice reaction from Uncle Phil, Grandpa Phil, going off on the refs. He probably dropped like 7 dead gummits in that discussion.
Let's stink and go. That was the phrase we saw quite often in the mic'd up version of the 49ers game. Again, good Monday morning to you. Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, and Caleb Zuver with you here. We have broken down a lot over the Colts, and they're now 5th straight year missing the playoffs. Yesterday, 23-17 to the Jags. Just to lay out the week for those that are curious, NFL did announce the Week 18 schedule late last night. The Colts are back in the what you would expect 1 o'clock Sunday window with a meaningless game with Houston. Technically, Houston could still win the AFC South. They would need Jacksonville, though, to lose to Tennessee. So I would expect a normal schedule week for the Colts, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday practice, et cetera, et cetera. And then, James, typically what happens is when, that final game ends on Sunday, the next day, so that would be 1 week from today, that is when you have player locker room clean out, and that is the day that the NFL references as Black Monday from around the league. And last year, correct me if I'm wrong, the Jim Irsay pinned letter came out, just a couple hours after the Week 18 game ended, Colts and Jags at Lucas Oil Stadium. I want to say it was like a 7 o'clock-ish, something along those lines.
Yeah, I believe so. I just remember stepping out into the snow, because remember we had that huge snowstorm? Stepping out into the snow after writing my post-season, post-game story, and then having to go back to the apartment and rewrite it because Irsay put out a statement that could have been put out at 4 o'clock. But yes, they did make a statement, made it pretty quickly, and I wonder if that will be the case this year.
Do you just use the same statement?
I mean, you could. If you keep everybody around.
Do you, go back and you change a few words like it's,
Is it just courtesy to wait till the Black Monday thing? Could you just do the whole, well, you know what?
Do it today?
No, I don't mean do it today. I mean, well, yeah, you definitely could do it today. It's a Monday. But, the whole season ends, we'll wait till the morning to do everything.
If I remember correctly with Ryan Grigson, I want to say Grigson was fired several weeks into January.
Wow.
Now, again, that's Jim Irsay's watch. It's a different animal. I would assume if you are Carly Irsay Gordon and you are encountering your first ever, if she is, and again, I'm not holding my breath, I guess to say it out loud, but if she is going to make a change or two, I would assume she would want as much time as possible.
James wants a Lane Kiffin situation. Fire him on the tarmac. That's what James wants, I guess. Get it over with.
Look, as somebody who works in the news business, make it quick. If you're going to make any type of decision, get it over with. I don't like waiting around. Because you know what happens, Caleb? I get comfortable. I think, you know what? Ain't nothing going to happen. I can relax. I can go get this haircut. I can go to the grocery store. I can go see my family, friends. And then as soon as I do that, something happens. It without failure every single time. When JT got his extension after the whole saga with Jim Irsay, I was in the chair getting a line in.
Oh, I will never forget when Grigson got fired. I was up in Chicago visiting some buddies. I might have had a libation or two at that point. I mean, this was I swear, Caleb, you can look up the date. Look up the date Ryan Grigson got fired from the Colts. I mean, it had to have been 2, if not 3 weeks into January when, he got axed. And I think we occasionally see this, and
Yeah, it was January 21st. So I think, I don't know if that was.
What's Monday? Monday's going to be what? January 4th, 5th?
Yeah, so that is quite a while.
I mean, that was what? So 2 weeks into. into the offseason. I haven't really deciphered too much of league-wide, and feel free, guys, to chime in. So far right now, we have what? We have interim coaches. I'm trying to think where. New York?
Tennessee?
Is that it?
I feel like there's one more, but that might be it.
It should be one for the Raiders, but
it doesn't seem like there's the Ben Johnson coordinator pursuit. There doesn't seem to be, I don't know, maybe Marcus Freeman is this. There doesn't seem to necessarily be the hot college football coach that is just waiting to join the NFL, a la Harbaugh maybe, from a couple of years ago. The one big domino that I am curious about, because there's always something that is unforeseen on Black Monday, or at least in the general world around that day. Sometimes it involves a playoff team, frankly. What happens with Steelers-Ravens Sunday Night Football game 272? Because I just feel like we've had some whispers throughout the year of, and maybe it's just, hey, I'm tired of waking up next to that person, which sounds kind of harsh, but maybe that is the case with John Harbaugh in Baltimore. Maybe that is the case with Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. And so does that lead to anything? Does the loser of that game, or hell, maybe if the winner then gets smoked in the playoffs, do we see anything domino effect off of that?
I like this. The rare both coaches coaching for their job game. How many times has that happened?
Which sounds wild because both coaches are like borderline Hall of Fame coaches.
I don't even think they are, though. That's the thing. Well, I definitely don't think Tomlin is.
Man.
And I know everyone's going to be like,
man, James,
trust me when I tell you this man is not coaching for his job with Pittsburgh. He's just not.
I get that Pittsburgh usually doesn't do these things, but when's the last time they won a playoff game?
Oh, I agree with you on that.
Those fans are so fed up with him.
But don't we usually always have one story in the coaching world of the Black Monday that's a little bit not crystal clear? That's not Tennessee or not New York. Where is that going to be? I mean, right now from a national landscape, James, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've had any sort of Schefter, Rappaport, any of those guys bringing up Shane Steichen's name in Indy.
No, that is true.
Unless I've missed it. I don't think there's been any of the national convo.
Which is why you should stick with local journalism like us here on the Fan.
But again, it's not like we're sitting here expecting change.
Nah, not necessarily. Not from the coaching. I do think, again, if you're looking at the scales, the high alert one is definitely the more weightier one. It has to be Ballard before I go to Steichen.
Now, again, some of this I think has to do with just Carly Gordon in general, and like there's no past precedent with her. So
that's a good point.
League wide, I think that is at play here. Whereas, maybe Jim Irsay, certainly with Chris Mortensen, had a very close relationship from a national media standpoint with some of those guys. Mike Silver comes to mind. So maybe, that is at play here. But yeah, we'll see if, as I've tried to read tea leaves throughout this, and again, it's difficult because Carly Gordon is different, but does the embarrassment, I would call this collapse embarrassing to a degree. I get there's some context, but James, when we throw out the stat, since 2000, you've had 96 teams start 8-2, and you're the only one not to make the playoffs. Hell, you didn't even make it to week 18 with a chance. And we've extended the playoff format. If you look at that stat since 2000, for what? The first 20 years of that stat, only 6 teams made the playoffs in each conference. Now there's 7. I mean, that is a very historic, embarrassing collapse. Are we simply just chalking it up to, hey, man, people got hurt?
I can't do that. To me, it's definitely the biggest reason for the collapse, the injuries.
But Carly Irsay mentioned that back in the spring. She brought up the injury word. Those are her words. We don't have many of her words to go off of, James. But she brought that up.
That's a very good point. And again, it just goes back to how I think what we're trying to do right now, and it's kind of a cop-out response from me, but we're trying to theorize what could happen without having a good chance or a good precedent of what has happened with respect to Carl Gordon. With Jim Irsay in the past, we could say, well, if I look here at this year in the similar situation, similar circumstances, he did this.
Right.
And honestly, with Jim Irsay, some of that stuff never made sense whether you had past precedent or not, i.e. Jeff Saturday being hired. However, this is why this offseason I think is so pivotal from an organizational standpoint, because whatever Carly Gordon does moving forward this offseason is what we will judge her and the franchise by in the next off seasons to come. And boy, she steps into such a unique situation.
I have to say this too. Those if that jobs do open up here, those interviews are going to have to be like 16 hours long. Do you understand how much is at risk here and what's on the table? First round picks. What are you going to do with the quarterback? What are you going to do with the head coach?
Yeah.
You have to get a full idea, especially for the general manager, what their plan is going to be and what their philosophy is. There is so much to figure out here.
Well, I'll say this. You don't have to worry about that, because when they went through this process with Shane, it was, days-long interviews and stuff like that. So that won't be an issue. But certainly, I can say this. I do know this about Carly. She is not one to cut corners. So she will be very thorough. You talk to any players, any coaches about just her being around the team, not only this year, but in years past, very, very detailed. And one of the players who I think speaks to that the most publicly is no longer here, and that's Stephon Gilmore. This is the guy who's probably a future Hall of Famer, former defensive player of the year, and he was early in saying, dude, she is built for this, and she is prepared for this, and she doesn't cut corners.
Yeah, I could, again, I'm not going to pretend to know Carly Gordon well, but the little
you shopped at the same, locations and, same car dealership.
I somewhat park close to her in the parking lot. Slightly different cars, I must say. But, the little I do know of her, I could definitely see her. First off, I think she will be much more black and white than her dad ultimately when it comes to decision-making from an emotional standpoint.
Yeah, that's
I think she is going to look at hardcore numbers, and look, the hardcore numbers are ugly, and she's going to sit here and be like, wait, what? Why? Why are we 28th? Why are we 24th? What, however you want to slice and dice it. And I could see here wanting to make a very quick imprint on I'm running the show right now. Me and my sisters are running the show right now. I mean, they made some organizational moves in the immediate aftermath of her dad's passing that, some people that have been in that organization for a long, long time. And no. We are now moving forward, and we don't necessarily feel like you fit there, dollars and cents, however you want to slice and dice it. So there is that part of me that believes that aspect to it, but I continue to come back to that trade. And that trade just threw a wrench into all of it. To me, it was when you make that move, and if she indeed green-lighted it, then that would be quite the 180 2 months later. But I'll always say this, when you are people in positions of authority, particularly in professional sports, admitting you're wrong, I think is one of the hardest things to do, but it can also be a massive deciding factor in you maintaining your job. Like Kevin Pritchard with the Domantas Sabonis Miles Turner thing. He felt like that was the right move. Committed to that. And then all of a sudden realized, oh bleep, this isn't going to work. Can you pivot? Or are you too stubborn to not?
And then got rid of Domantas Sabonis after a shoot around in Atlanta, where I had to, stay awake and write that. I agree. But can I say this too? To your point about having to pivot and make decisions where at first you thought one thing and then you think another, you have to do it also at the expense of somebody else's job tenure, potentially. And that's the nuance that's there, but also that's what you get paid the big bucks for. That's why you're the owner. Like, you can say I greenlighted the Sauce Gardner trade and it didn't work, but you can also say, well, you know what? You might not be the right person to help me fix this.
Yeah, and I'm sure this conversation will probably have a lot throughout the week, and the whole Gardner trade, to me, it was less about, do you think Sauce Gardner is a great player? That remains to be seen if he's going to be that in a Colts uniform. Obviously, this year, injuries have played a massive factor in that. But when you make that move, you said Daniel Jones is your franchise quarterback unquestionably, and you said Chris Ballard is your GM of the future. And those two thoughts, to me, are super premature. And I don't think that's hindsight 2020 all of a sudden creeping in for me. And I get that the Sauce Gardner is available. It's not something that's available 365 days out of the year. The trade deadline was what? November 3rd, November 4th? Like, you can't just execute that trade in a snap of a finger here. That's how in-season trades oftentimes work. But sometimes you're not allowed to shop down those aisles. And
you just brought back so many memories. I can hear my grandmother now. Put that down.
Right.
When we get in here, you don't touch nothing.
No. I'm lucky if, the candy bar at the checkout, if I can slide that under a few other groceries before we go through the checkout line.
We got McDonald's at home type of deal.
Hey, for real. Oh, the stories
Stovers
I can tell
at
you.
home.
The stories I can tell you, Caleb. The stories. Now I get the flex and say, I got McDonald's money now. What's up? Only for me, though.
Let's hit a morning check down.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
How about the game yesterday? 23-17. It was the Jags over the Colts. Colts built a 10-0 lead. I thought, Jonathan Taylor ran it with some early success. Ashton Dulin sparked things. And that Colts pass rush was reaching back into the archives with some moments that I hadn't seen. But, James, from then on, you just felt like Jacksonville, eventually they would stop playing with their food and assert their dominance on the game. Certainly from a yardage standpoint, they did. And then scoreboard-wise, made the plays when they needed to, 23-17. The difference for you in the game was what?
Phillip Rivers finally looked old. And I just thought that they weren't able to push the ball down the field very often. And although it's not all his fault, his turnover did lead to the go-ahead field goal that ultimately proved to be the lead they couldn't come back from.
Yeah, I thought he looked his age for the most part. Definitely sprinkled in some good, but the dinosaur offense was back again for the Colts yesterday. Jonathan Taylor, ultimately, you couldn't keep him as an efficient runner. Defensively, again, the big pass rush early on did not last. We did see Sauce Gardner leave early, tightness in his calf. So assuming he is shut down, that would be 3.5 games for Sauce Gardner here in a Colts uniform. He left early third quarter. Technically, I guess, wasn't ruled out, but he did not look like a guy that was returning to play anytime soon. So it'll be Colts and Texans coming up Sunday, Week 18, the season finale, a 10-point underdog in this one. Moving to the other parts of the NFL, Week 18, the schedule is set. Well, first off, we got Rams-Falcons tonight, Monday Night Football. Then looking ahead to Week 18, there's really not a lot to play for from a playoff berth standpoint. The NFC South is yet to be decided, so that'll be our Saturday game at 4:30. Panthers-Bucks, winner is the 4th seed. The number 1 seed in the NFC is also left up in the air. That could be either 49ers or Seahawks. That will be the night game coming up on Saturday. Winner of that is the 1 seed. Loser of that goes to the winner of the NFC South.
Right.
So it's kind of wild how those
crazy.
two games are back and forth there. So 49ers, if they win, they're the 1 seed. If they lose, then they're traveling to Carolina or Tampa in round 1. And then game 272, the last game of the season, Sunday Night Football, Ravens and Steelers. The winner there is your AFC North champ, and your loser is out of the postseason.
And according to Kevin Bowen, the loser, their coach is fired too.
Who else is fired?
Should they just trade coaches?
Pete Carroll's fired or no? Kevin Stefanski fired?
In all seriousness, Pete Carroll probably needs to go.
So that's 1 year and done?
Raiders. Yes, it is that bad. I can't look at the Raiders and look at anything that they've done and say this is good.
Zach Taylor in Cincinnati?
That's another one.
Interesting.
The
Bengals do it, though. I mean,
that would be a coveted job, would it not?
You would think.
Well, anytime you got a franchise quarterback, yes.
But that ownership.
Mike McDaniel getting another run in Miami? He's got playoffs on his resume, unlike Shane Steichen.
He's also kind of made them decent, but
7-9 The Dolphins winning 8 games potentially is not what I had on my bingo card.
I feel that way about the Vikings too, just with the way things started for them. Like all of a sudden they could be the second place team or the third place team in the NFC North.
A couple other I'll throw out there. Jonathan Gannon in Arizona, Raheem Morris in Atlanta. Any of that could be possible here.
I could see Morris, yeah.
Black Monday coming up here a week from today. All right, on the hardwood tonight, we got a little bit of action here on a Monday. Pacers and Rockets. It'll be an 8 o'clock tip down there in Houston. The Pacers have now lost 8 in a row. It looks like Ben Shepherd could return. So, James, if I have this correct, we could be, as early as tonight, having a McConnell, Nembhard, Matherin, Shepherd, Nesmith, Aaron Nesmith back in the lineup after a month and a half out, Pascal Siakam. That's about as close to the expected opening night core as you've had in a while. So, again, it's 8 in a row. Right now, you have the worst record in the league. If there's ever going to be a time, we'll see if it happens here in January.
It's time for me to start checking the schedule again to see when does Darren Peterson play, AJ Debanza, Cameron Boozer. If the basketball gods want to reward us for the loss of Tyrese Halliburton's Achilles, by the way, he's back on the court doing some workouts before games now, which is good to see. Give the Pacers that number 1 pick.
By the way, and I just saw this pop up on my Twitter timeline. I kind of forgot this about Liam Cohen, Jags head coach. Remember how saga-filled
it was crazy
that head coaching search was?
Yeah, didn't he agree to come back to Tampa Bay as a coordinator, and then he went to do the interview with Jacksonville and ghosted the Buccaneers and then took the Jaguars' job.
Well, and he got the Jags GM fired. Remember that? Trent Baalke?
Oh, yeah, that was one of his sticking points.
And they hired the young dude.
Yeah.
Boy, I saw him on the sidelines before the game. I cannot believe that dude is a GM in the NFL. James Gladstone, I believe is the name.
Shout out to our James, black don't crack.
Well, he did have a nice black Jags jacket on yesterday, flipping the ball up.
Yeah, I keep hearing you talking about Black Monday. I've been black on every Monday of my life.
And by the way, speaking of black, that mustache on Shad Khan, you see that thing in person? Oh, my gosh.
Luscious.
Oh, it's immaculate.
You know what's crazy? I had never felt more broke.
He could have a family in there. That thing is so just that thing is awesome.
No, this is true.
I wanted to shake his hand.
I have never felt more broke in my life than last year at the owners' meetings down in, was it Palm Beach or whatever? And we're at this fancy hotel, and they get out of the owners meeting, the literal owners meetings. And Shad Khan comes walking down the hallway, and he's got, like you said, the luscious mustache. And then you see all the other owners walking by, and I'm like, okay, that's $10 billion, that's $2 billion, and I still got to pay my car note on the Honda Civic,
Dude, you and I could agree on this. We could tell stories for days, James. There's nothing that will humble you more as a human than attending the NFL owners meetings.
Yeah, true story, real quick.
Seeing how you arrive and how you wear and how you whatever versus that world.
There was and it was my first time, I think, was this my first time going to owners meetings? I believe so. It might have been. And there was a shout out to the security guard. He saw me the first couple of days, and maybe by the third day or whatever, he stopped me. He said, I was like, I thought I was in trouble or something, or I was walking somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. He's like, nah. He's like, I just wanted to let you know, the look on your face has finally changed. He said, it looks like you're, actually kind of relaxed and that you might have belonged here, because he said for about 2 days there, you was like you didn't know what you were doing. I was like, it was that easy to spot?
Walking through those hotels, I was hands in the pocket. You don't touch one thing. You don't look. You head on a swivel, and if you run into the wrong person, oh boy.
And then you got kids running around because the Holiday Inn Express. They have no idea.
Got a couple calls to get to. We'll do that coming up after the break. It is the Fan Morning Show here on a Monday that I look outside and I'm seeing snow flurries.
Do you know what's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide? If you guessed Discover.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HAWK to 321-321 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HAWK to 321-321. That's HAWK to 321-321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
JMV here for Big Red Liquors, and starting in November, gift card bonus cheer can be handed out. If you buy a $50 gift card, get $5 free. Buy a $100 gift card, you're going to get $15 added to it. And if you buy a $200 gift card, tag 40 in a gift card. And Angels Envy free engraving with bottle purchase as well. All that and more going on right now at Big Red Liquors, 100-plus locations throughout the state of Indiana. Spreading bonus cheer. Check out that location nearest you, bigredliquors.com.
If you or someone you know needs help putting food on the table, that help is closer than you think. The Fan cares. We've partnered with local food banks and organizations to provide resources for those who need them. Just go to 1075thefan.com and look for the banner that says Find Free Food Near You. You'll find a link to Community Compass with an up-to-date and interactive map that shows locations, days, and times for you to collect food at no cost, as well as other resources to help you through this challenging time. Find community help now at 1075thefan.com.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1-day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's four walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here, you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
Get ready to hoop. It's back. Time to try your skills around indie locations with Michelob Ultra's Mini Hoops Challenge. Michelob Ultra Mini Hoops Challenge gives you a chance to win a Michelob Ultra basketball jersey and punch your ticket to the Mini Hoops Finals, where a trip to see Indiana versus Milwaukee in Milwaukee on February 6th is on the line, complete with a hotel gift card and $100 Visa gift card. Visit 1075thefan.com today to see all the locations and details.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Sound familiar? At Mattress Firm, we understand there are many problems, like snoring, aches and pains, hot sleep, or even an old saggy mattress that can keep you up at night. And our sleep experts have the unrivaled know-how to match you with a mattress that can help. And right now, save up to $700 on Tempur-Pedic, plus a $300 instant gift. For the great sleep you deserve, visit Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Switching to Progressive is a game-winning call. And that reminds us of other game-winning calls in the history of sports.
It was a doubleheader in August, and really hot inside the concession stand. So instead of waiting for people to come to me, I figured I'd walk around yelling, "Hot dogs here!" And that's how I became the first hot dog vendor in sports.
Okay, not really a game-winning call, but it was a good call. You can make one too. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for Indy sports. Now with even more ways to listen.
Listen on air.
Online at 1075thefan.com.
And on our free app.
Stay connected to all things Indy sports, including the latest news, show blogs, and catch up on what you've missed with our podcast.
We're never more than just a click away.
Download our app at Google Play and on the App Store. From your home for Indy sports.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to The Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
I think that's the hard part, too. It doesn't last forever. And, you've had one or two appearances, and you just go, man, is the time going to run out? And that's just reality, right? That happened. We had a stretch in San Diego where we went 4 in a row, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we were like, oh, we're going to get one. And then all of a sudden, you just go on a skid, and it's the reality of the business we're in.
Certainly been a cool movie, fun story, inspirational, all of it, heartwarming. But NFL reality has set in, and the Friday Night Lights feel to the Permian Panthers. I think Phillip Rivers is seen as Dallas Carter, and I believe it will be Riley Leonard coming up on Sunday in Houston. We'll await official word on that from Shane Steichen later this week. I guess Phillip Rivers would still be the backup. I don't know. Anthony Richardson, does he need clearance to be ready for a game? These are all still some questions that need some answers here. So we'll see as the Colts get ready for their season finale in Houston. Just getting you set on the lay of the land for the week. We're back to some basketball action. I know we usually, I think locally, NBA even, certainly college, typically around Christmas is pretty quiet. Purdue back in action tonight, their final non-conference game. They've got Kent State. Indiana, I still think we got to wait a little bit before Darren DeVries and company later this weekend that they'll get back to the hardwood there. Butler's at Creighton tomorrow night, and the Pacers. They've got the Rockets coming up here at 8 o'clock tonight. We'll, of course, have your coverage. And then the big one this week, 4 o'clock, Rose Bowl Thursday. The Indiana Hoosiers as a touchdown favorite against the Alabama Crimson Tide. I did see, I think I saw Kurt Signetti mention, maybe it was a little bit ago, Omar Cooper Jr. good to go. He left early in that Big Ten title game, James.
Yeah.
I think Omar Cooper Jr. is a stud. I think that dude is a dog.
Didn't we talk to Dane Brugler, the athletic draft guru? I think he called him a top 100 guy for the draft.
And I think he is a very key ingredient to getting on a run here.
Absolutely.
The Elijah Surratt back shoulder, Charlie Becker down the field, is that still going to be there week in and week out against elite competition? But I think Cooper Jr. is a hell of an athlete, just creating on his own. So we'll see if him back to full health can help out Indiana again. 4 o'clock on Thursday, New Year's Day.
I will say this real quick. What's crazy about this matchup is that it used to be the running joke if you went to a bad college program for football, you'd win against nobody and say, bring on Alabama. And now they really have Alabama and a chance to beat them.
We want Bama.
I mean, that was the thing. We did it in Illinois when they used to beat some directional school in, week 0 or whatever. But you're legitimately the favorite to beat Alabama.
Touchdown favorite. You've got them, and you're a touchdown favorite.
Boy, that's crazy.
4 o'clock New Year's Day. Again, we'll get things started quarterfinal-wise Wednesday night. I think that's going to be a good game. That Miami-Ohio State spread, I think it's a little too big. I think it's reaching 10 points. I think it's a little too big, so we'll get things started there with the first quarterfinal game on Wednesday. Caleb, you said Matt's been hanging in there for a little while.
He has.
Let's get to him on the airwaves. Good morning, Matt. How you doing?
Hey, guys. Good morning from Ann Arbor, Michigan, where we've certainly never had any coaching or staffing issues.
No, nothing.
To speak of. So figured I'd chime in on the Colts being an Indy native. KB, I know you're local, so you remember the 2000s, and I know it's a little different because we had a Hall of Fame quarterback, but almost we took it for granted seeing the Titans, the Jags, and the Texans on the schedule twice a year and sort of saying, oh, there's an easy 5+ wins, probably for 10 years in a row. So sort of how far we've fallen remembering from that. And so instead, over the past 10 years, with Chris Ballard at the helm, we've had some of the following headlines that I remember. One, quote, a career day for Drew Lock against Indianapolis. Quote, Davis Mills carves up the Colts defense. Taylor Heineke authors a gritty win against the Colts. And what a win from Malik Willis. And so I was just thinking back about those that, no disrespect to those guys. I certainly wouldn't call them Tom Brady's. But I think that's sort of emblematic of I would call it the purgatory that this team is in, right? With Chris Ballard at the helm. And it's not personal at all. It's just that this guy leads an organization, and it's his responsibility to field a football team that can compete and make those sorts of headlines not consistent or at least annual. And I look at the Colts now in the 2020s, far removed from where we were in the 2000s, and sort of say, what is the identity of this team? What's the ability for this team to compete on a basis? And is this team considered a threat by anybody else? And I don't think so. And so succinctly as I can, just briefly say why I think that Chris Ballard needs to go. And it's simple. It's that there are 32 of these, 30 of these jobs, because Jerry Jones, whatever, is a GM too. But say 31 of these jobs, right? That statistically makes being a GM in the NFL one of the most hard and challenging jobs to obtain, right? I mean, it just is. 32 of how many million people live in this country. And there are hundreds of NFL assistant GMs or front office workers waiting for their shot to step into one of those jobs, right? It's the pinnacle of their career. And I don't know if any of them are going to work, but I know that hiring one of them is the representation of trying something else to fix a problem that you can't figure out. Because here we are again, right? 8-9, I think we'll be at the end of the year. Just like last year, just like the year before, consistently with the same problem on our hands. And the idea that we can just go into 2026, I guess it will be, which is crazy to believe, saying that we like our guys and we're just a player or two away is I think, malpractice. And I think that the only solution is to make a change. So anyway, guys, I'll leave you with that, and I'll call you back this time next year when we're not going to be in the wild card. Yeah.
Matt, Happy New Year. Kyle Whittingham, right? Up there in Ann Arbor there. Interesting hire for Michigan, and I thought he might have been retired. I guess not after leaving Utah.
You will come out of retirement for millions of guaranteed money, right?
I could be talked into a lot of things, I think, there.
I guess you got to get to retirement first, right?
Matt hit a ton of great points there. I don't know if maybe there's a grand takeaway you had in particular, James, but I think to go off of what he said a little bit early in that conversation, I'd say the divisional aspect to it is probably the one that's really hard for me to comprehend. And maybe Matt's right. Maybe it's because, I grew up in this market, was used to, and again, it's not just the Colts dominated the AFC South when its existence began in 2002 for so many years. I mean, you go back to the Grigson era, they did win 16 straight AFC South games. 16 straight. And now, in Shane Steichen's 3 years, they're 2-9 against the Jags and the Texans. And guys, let's not act like the Jags and the Texans have been the Eagles over the last 3 years, or I'm trying to think who else deserves a Buffalo. I don't know, whoever has the best record in the NFL over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, they're not.
I mean, this was the Chiefs for years in their division.
I mean, DeMeco Ryans was hired the same year Shane Steichen was.
Yeah.
And Liam Cohen is a first-year head coach. So I think that aspect to it, when you play in the – and I get this year the AFC South has been better, of course, but you play in the lowliest division in the AFC. And as you pointed out, James, throughout the show, everybody in this division has won it now twice since the Colts last won it once.
I'll raise you this. I believe every other team has won it twice since Chris Ballard took over.
Yeah, 2017. Yeah.
I mean,
right.
That's damning.
When you look at the quarterbacks that have won it,
Blake Bortles was one of them.
Yeah, I mean, you get into some of those Houston quarterbacks. Osweiler, I believe, was a quarterback one year. I mean, it's just it's a very humbling, and this is where the Carly Ursay-Gordon element I'm curious about, James. We did this exercise last week on the show. I think both of you two were, I don't know, surprised by it, but it was kind of jarring. Remember when I went through the list of sporting events that Lucas Oil Stadium has had since the Colts last had a home playoff game?
Swim trials, I believe, was on that list.
Or just talking our market. Like, we consider IU basketball to have been bad over the last decade, right? Largely. Or like, whatever, Notre Dame basketball. I mean, those programs have won multiple NCAA tournament games since the Colts last hosted a home playoff game. That one financially, James, or eyes on your franchise. Like, I don't want to act like the Colts are in this like dire financial state by any means, but in the NFL landscape, they're not one of the richest. And the amount of primetime eyeball games they get are not at the top of the list. So from an ownership standpoint, missing out on those opportunities now for 11 straight years and watching this city react. And if you're the Irsay daughters and all your kids want to go to the Pacer playoff games, want to go to the Fever playoff games, and they see how this city responded to that run last season.
Yeah, it was special, man.
Like that would get me a little toss and turning at night. And I know
I just got chills thinking about it because, Kevin, the city was on fire during the Pacers run. And granted, again, I haven't lived here all my life, so I can't speak to how it was when Reggie was in his heyday. But, boy, walking into games and knowing you had, one, a dude, and that you were going to win was a different type of feeling. And even for the Fever, seeing the rise of that franchise, granted, a lot of it has to do with the arrival of Caitlin Clark, but without her, they still get it. It's a totally different sport, different league. I get it. But they were decimated by injuries and still found a way to get to, within a game, really a quarter, overtime period of the WNBA Finals. So, yeah, that should keep you up at night.
Yeah, that part of it. Again, 11 years. I believe, if I have it correct, I think it's 25 teams have had a home playoff game since the Colts last have had one. I mean, that's a big, big number. And, that part of it continuing. And again, last year, you were eliminated from the division, I want to say, with 3 weeks left. This year, you're eliminated from the division with 2 weeks left. I think that would add to it all. All right, we'll do it one final time here. Fan Morning Show, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
This is Window Nation, your source for affordable replacement windows at the highest quality. Your old windows, they're not keeping in the heat in the winter. They keep letting the heat in during the summer. And they're certainly keeping your energy bill way higher than it needs to be. You need the pros at Window Nation with installation precision and experience that are second to none. They'll also be in and out of your house faster than any other service. Their custom-made windows are guaranteed to be a perfect fit in your home. And they back it up with the best warranty in the industry. It's why they've maintained an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. So stay cozy in winter, chill in the summer, and save money year-round. Get a great deal on replacement windows from Window Nation today. Go to getwindownation.com or call 866-90NATION for your free estimate. And for a limited time, get 50% off all window styles, plus pay no interest for 5 years. Go to getwindownation.com or call 866-90NATION.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis, guaranteed, or your money back. Only $59.99. Destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Also destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, or weight gain, or your money back. Hypnosis, January 29th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss at 5:30 p.m., stop smoking at 8. And January 31st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m., stop smoking at 2. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Progressive Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, so shopping for insurance might be the easiest part of owning a home. Definitely easier than this.
Psst, honey. What? Shh, there's a salesman walking up the driveway.
Oh no, he's got a clipboard.
What do we do?
Get down.
Down?
On the floor, you...
Shoot, did he see us?
Why are you breathing so loud?
Home ownership isn't easy, but with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, shopping for home insurance is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-211-8833. 800-211-8833. That's 800-211-8833.
Bowling, 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 keep them balls a-rolling. Bowling, 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 Royal Pin.
Ring in the new year at Royal Pin Entertainment's annual New Year's Eve celebration. Countdown to 2026 with a celebration the whole family will love. Get to Royal Pin from 9 p.m. to midnight on December 31st for 3 hours of fun and family-friendly excitement, including cosmic bowling, a complimentary appetizer board, a midnight toast, and a whole lot more. Each lane fits up to 6 guests. There's plenty of celebration to go around. So bring your friends, bring your family, and roll into 2026 with a bang. Spots fill up fast. Reserve your lane now at royalpin.com.
Set 'em up.
Knock 'em down, send them flying, spinning round.
Royal Pin Entertainment, where fun rolls into the new year.
Royal Pin.
Royal Pin.
Hi, this is
Lloyd,
Jessica,
Robert, and Adam
from Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning in Pittsboro. The Kirby family wishes you the merriest of Christmases and happiest of New Year's. Thanks for your business. We really appreciate it. If you live in Hendricks or surrounding counties and need us, we are always here to help. Kirby services any model, and we proudly install American Standard products. Call us at 317-892-3614.
Kirby is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Happy holidays from Kirby Heating and Air Conditioning.
On the golf tee, it's Skechers World Champions Cup. Watch it live December 4th and 5th on ESPN and ESPN Plus, 12 to 4 p.m. It's PGA Champions Tour golfers from all over the world. Team USA versus Team Europe versus Team International. Watch it live December 4th and 5th on ESPN and ESPN Plus, 12 to 4 p.m. The competition will be tense, but feet will be comfy. Tune in to Skechers World Champions Cup. Final round of golf on Sunday, December 7th on ABC, 1 to 5 p.m.
It's JMV for Indiana's Best. My friend Eric Wilson and Andy Moore Buick GMC, 131st and State Road 37. It's in Fishers. Check it out right now. The GMC Acadia, good for you, the family, and the friends of the family. Inventory, car buying experience, service after the sale, the absolute best. It's one-stop shopping. Ask for Eric Wilson and head to Andy Moore Buick GMC, 131st and State Road 37 in Fishers.
Hey, JMV, later on this afternoon at 3, Jaguars Colts recap the weekend of sports and prepping for a new year. Don't miss a second today at 3.
You're listening to the Fan Morning Show on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, good Monday morning. Thank you for spending with us. Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, and Caleb Zuber will be back with you tomorrow. Would assume Rick Carlisle a little later in the show tomorrow because they are in Houston tonight, so that is some late travel back for them. Probably talk a little bit more, too, college football-wise, in the Rose Bowl. It does seem like Alabama's maybe getting a hair healthier down there. I still look at their overall team and think to myself, Indiana is, I think you might have used the word earlier, James, a more consistent team.
Yeah, they are.
I think that's a really good way to put it. Like, I just can't bank on Alabama lost to the 13th best team in the ACC, Florida State. I mean, you know, I just can't. I'd be really surprised, honestly, if Indiana lost the game.
Yes, really, and also I think it, and then honestly, it comes down to this with a lot of college football games. Can you just avoid the busted coverage, weird momentum swinging play? Because if you make Alabama have to beat you methodically, I don't think they can.
Well, that's the only reason they got back in the game against Oklahoma.
Exactly.
Was the punt, and then
Oklahoma really gave that game away.
100%.
But, I mean,
and then the awful pick six.
Yeah.
From there.
Can you avoid the disastrous plays, the weird plays? And again, it's not a secret, but if you play, to use the cliche that coaches like to use, if you play your brand of football, you should win that game going away.
A Thursday, 4 o'clock for that one, New Year's Day. No, we did it earlier, but another shout out to Ashton Doolin. I just
shout out my guy.
That opening kickoff yesterday, you know, he set up. I mean, Colts had 3 scores yesterday, and Doolin had 2 kick returns of over 50 yards to set up each of them. He continues to make plays on punt. I get it's not sexy to talk about a special teamer, but that guy's got a cool NFL story.
Was it you that tweeted something like, if the Colts had 53 Ashton Doolins, they wouldn't be in this position?
Something like that. Wasn't the exact tweet, but I said, yeah, something along those lines. Yeah.
I mean, seriously, you talk about grit, tenacity, toughness. He brings that, and for a game that, again, was quote-unquote meaningless, he played like it meant something.
I think they're also trying to take a deep shot to him. At one point there, it looked like, granted, Phillip Rivers and the deep shot's probably not something that's happening too much.
I got to just throw this in because I was thinking about it being at the game yesterday. We're talking a lot today about cleaning house potentially. If that happens, there's one more thing that I would like to see go, or at least tweaked, adjusted. Can we retire blue pieing people in the face?
No.
I don't think it's funny anymore. You got to have some twist on it here. Let's just get the opposing team's jersey with somebody sitting down and wearing it, and let's just pie him in the face. Like, I've seen that for as long as Chris Ballard's been the general manager. Put a twist on it.
That's the only thing the Colts have been good at in the Chris Ballard era is blue.
Probably right. But
Caleb, is there anything better than blue in the Allegiant toss? I swear his accuracy
that's actually crazy.
He needs to play quarterback.
He looks like Drew Brees.
All the opposing beat writers are always impressed by that. But I'll say this real quick, Caleb. I want to say blue might be the most popular NFL mascot,
He is.
and it's not close.
But he's going to lose that if he just,
Nah, bro, I'm trying to tell you, I've had serious conversations about this.
He's got a huge TikTok following.
Admin and with the admins, with the social media team, with the Colts, with the people who are involved with Blue's existence. Brother, the pie is when they struck gold. This is like oil in, I don't know, Landman, if you watch that show. Like, they are not going to ever stop doing that. And people love it. I think it's redundant. I think we're probably just too into it. But, boy, the numbers that I see on those videos, they'll never stop doing that.
The halftime show was embarrassing yesterday. I'm going to say it.
I didn't. I love me some Trey Mock. I did not totally follow the halftime show. Granted, I wasn't necessarily paying attention to it, but it was a lot going on.
I don't know what was going on.
I couldn't really follow. I will say this. When I saw it was Blues' turn to bang the anvil, I leaned over to Mike Chappell and said, I swear Blues banged the anvil at 3 games this year. There's nothing that says you're eliminated from the playoffs more than Blue banging the anvil.
Well, you can always call Johnny Manziel. He might show up or might not.
That's tough.
Talk about guys playing quarterbacks coming up in Week 18. That news item could come today. Shane Steichen mentioned Tuesday maybe for that, but we'll see. 24 hours after the game, he will have his normal Monday conference call, and we'll see if he indeed decides to name a starter.
One more thing, and we can get into this tomorrow and throughout later the week. I know you talked a lot about the AFC South, and we will have that discussion for years to come until the Colts finally win it. But one last point I want to make about that whole thing, when you look at who's won it, it hasn't even been with the same quarterback, yes, but also the same regimes. I mean, you looking at teams like the Jaguars and the Texans that have won the division, bottomed out, reset at their general manager, head coach, or quarterback position, and won it again, all during the span of Chris Ballard's tenure.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly probably worth looking at the quarterbacks and the head coaches. Was Bill O'Brien the first head coach to get this started?
I believe he was. I was actually looking back at Houston, and the quarterbacks that won the AFC South back in 2016 when they went 9-7, they started Brock Osweiler for 14 games and Tom Savage for 2.
Oh, man, Tom Savage. Shout out to Tom Savage. I did not have that on the bingo card today. Freaking Savage. Pittsburgh?
It's
Does
crazy.
that sound right for Tom Savage, maybe?
That does sound right.
Unbelievable on that front. Gosh.
When you put it like that, I mean, boy.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many stats that just kind of make you want to all of a sudden veer off the road. But, the whole starting of 8-2, and then again, you could throw in a couple different numbers, but I just decided to go back to 2000, turn of the century. 96 teams to start 8-2 in a season, and you're the first one to miss it. And again, you missed it with an extra playoff spot available to you that weren't available to teams from 2000 to 2019, and you missed it with a full week left in the season. You don't even get to Week 18. That's a historic collapse, no matter how you slice it. Caleb Zuber, thank you. James Boyd, thank you as always. We'll run it back tomorrow. I believe Jeff back Wednesday. I think Mark back next week. Again, lay of the land for tonight. Pacers coverage will begin 7:30 down there in Houston. It is an 8 o'clock tip with the Rockets. A little bit healthier for the Pacers. Purdue back in action. 7 o'clock tip, Big Ten Plus with Kent State. Everybody have a great Monday. Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, Caleb Zuber signing off.
Jake Query here. Each weekday noon to 3, guests appear live on the Java House Peel and Pour guest line. Use code JAKE25 at javahouse.com to save 25% on your first order.
It's JMV for BullseyeEventGroup.com, the Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hayes & Sons Restoration. All you can eat, all you can drink. Before each Colts home game, make your game day experience the best it can be. Entertained inside the Bullseye Event Center, and the great food from celebrity chef Kelsey Murphy. That and more, and combo up your passes with tickets to the game. That's the bullseyeeventgroup.com Colts VIP tailgate presented by Hazen